Today, we're going to be talking to you about all the different types of festivals that you can expect to see if you're living in Cyprus. You're watching Cyprus Unfiltered. I'm going to tell you real stories about real life here in Cyprus. So look, bank holidays and public holidays in Cyprus versus the UK. I don't know how many of you know, but in the UK, you've got about 8 different bank holidays that you would typically get throughout the year. In Cyprus, you have 15. And a lot of these holidays are based around religious events because you've got religious events, you've got traditional events, and it's tied to the kind of the Orthodox traditions. And as a result, they feel more culturally visible. And what I mean by that is, in the UK, when there's a bank holiday, it's just a bank holiday. And people just go out and they do their thing. And here, kind of life slows down. Schools close, the government offices shut, you've got businesses that actually close entirely. And the thing is, families are quite often getting together. Now, I know you might be saying, yeah, but Mark, they do that in the UK, right? They do, but it's not the same. And I'm going to come on to why it's not the same. What you'll find is that some of the holidays that you get out here, they do overlap with the UK. So the 15 that you have out here and the 8 in the UK, you get some overlaps. You get Christmas, you get New Year. You do get Easter, but actually, although you get Easter in both countries, it's different. It's different dates. So out here, you have an Orthodox Easter. So for example, the Easter that's just gone, last month or so, they were a week apart. They were a week apart compared to the UK dates, which is great for traveling. If you want to go away Easter here, you've got bank holidays here, and you're going back to the UK or whatever, then you're actually outside of the premium or the peak dates. So it actually works quite nicely. But then you've got, aside from sort of like the Orthodox traditions, you've also got traditions that are tied more to kind of Greek and Cypriot culture. So as an example, you've got Green Monday, which I'm going to show you a little bit about today. You've got the Greek Independence Day. And the thing is, you definitely become more aware of religion by being out here. And you definitely see it's more tradition because it's more embedded into everyday life than it is in many parts of the UK. So for example, if you're in the UK and it gets to be a bank holiday, I remember what this was like. It's a bank holiday, it's a day off work, right? The shops are open, people are catching up on DIY, the queues going out B&Q or Wix are going out the door sometimes, and that was COVID. But anyway, you've got queues of people because everybody needs to go and get the house done. Everybody's decorating, everybody's doing stuff. And so the retail sales are going through the roof because it's a commercial thing. It's like, let's just sell to everybody. All the roads are crowded as well because people are going away on holiday for the weekend. You're bloody going, towing caravans down to the south or whatever, because everyone's going away. Everyone's going away for the bank holiday. And that's fine. People go away for the bank holiday here. But the difference is, in Cyprus, the bank holidays just seem to feel more community focused. So you get more families gathering. You get kind of like the family meals. You get outdoor gatherings, which I'm going to show you a lot about tonight. Village events, which you don't really see in the UK. I mean, yes, you get events. You'll get like a Sunday village market or something, but not necessarily because it's a bank holiday, right? Then you see religious celebrations and you get lunches that kind of blend into dinner. And before you know it, you've been out all day. So here's the thing. What I want to do tonight is I'm going to show you a few events because I'm going to just go through some quick and rapid quick fire, but I'm going to delve into detail on some of them because I can't cover everything tonight, right? I can talk a lot, but you guys wouldn't want me to cover everything tonight. And let's be honest, I don't know everything about everything. So I'm just going to tell you the events that I've experienced. But in and amongst that, I don't want to gloss over everything too much. So I want to tell you about all the different types of events. We're going to deep dive into some of them tonight. So let's just start with the important ones. You've got Greek Independence Day. This is celebrated on, I think it's the 25th of March every year. And that essentially marks the start of the Greek War independence against the Ottoman Empire in 1821. So Greek Independence Day is a big thing out here. And again, everything closes. The schools close. Like my son's, he seems to be off school loads. I don't know what it is. It's always a bank holiday somehow. But anyway, so you've got the Independence Day. Then you've got Easter, as I just mentioned earlier on. You've got, and if I'm going to butcher this word, I think it's like Kataklysmos, something like that, Festival of the Floods. Anyway, and that's linked to the biblical story of Noah's Ark. So again, it kind of ties back into kind of like Bible stories. But then it's also against sort of ancient Greek traditions where it's connected to water and rebirth. So you have all these different things going on. And then you've got less religious festivals like the wine festivals, and you have them all over the country. But the most famous one's in Limassol. I haven't actually been to this one yet, but typically what happens at these festivals is you've got local wineries or local vineyards, and they're bringing their wines down, and you can, you can buy stuff, sample stuff. Quite often they'll give you wine, and you get to see kind of traditional dancing, and you're going to see some of that tonight anyway from another festival that I'm going to show you. Excuse me, but you get live music, people selling food. It's just an outdoor atmosphere where it's just loads of people gathering together because it's a wine festival. Sounds like a beer festival. I know, I'm going to come on to that as well. But basically, Cyprus has got one of the oldest winemaking histories in the world. And for those of you that don't know, Commandaria, if you've ever heard of that, Commandaria is often mentioned as one of the world's oldest named wines, and they still produce it here today in Cyprus. So this is the thing. Wine festivals out here, really big. You've got halloumi festivals. For those of you who don't know what halloumi is, it's the grilled cheese. Cyprus is the home of grilled halloumi. So you've got halloumi festivals out here. You've got olive festivals. There was a rose festival 2 weeks, was it a week ago? A week ago, I was shooting the video for the Jala locations. And basically, when we were there, when we were staying in Agros, there was a rose festival. I don't know if that was because it coincided with Mother's Day, because it was the Cypriot Mother's Day out here. But anyway, it was there. There's a rose festival, and you can go and eat and drink kind of various rose flavored things. And again, it's just something that we didn't even expect. It wasn't like we were going out for that particular festival. You just bump into these festivals as you're traveling around. For those of you that are here next weekend, there's a strawberry festival. We literally, you go and you eat strawberry flavored things and strawberries. And again, it'll be festivals with music and everything else. So you've got the strawberry festival. In March, for those of you who are here, you've got the Paphos Carnival. I know some people actually watching this, they were here, and we went to the Coral Bay Carnival, because lots of cities will have carnivals. And again, it just becomes a very kind of social thing. And then people hang around afterwards, and people are all going afterwards. Everybody's having fun, right? So what about the ones I've been to, though? I've been to the carnivals. I'm not going to bore you with carnival photos, because although the carnival in Paphos is amazing, a lot of people will know what a carnival looks like. So if you're watching this, you'll have probably experienced a carnival back in the UK. You'll know the floats and stuff like that. And so, while they've got a different spin on it, a different take on it, it's a carnival. You'll know what it looks like. But what you won't know what looks like is something called Green Monday. So we're going to start there. And what I'm going to do is, this is going to be again back and forth tonight. We're going to go to Green Monday, and I've ruined. Right, hold up. I'm going to be a little bit out of sync tonight. Green Monday, where are we? I've lost my videos. There we go. Right, let me change this over. Hopefully you can see this. So Green Monday, I'm going to leave that on the screen just so you can see, you can have a guess as to what it is that you're looking at. But Green Monday marks the beginning of Orthodox Lent. Now, it's a public holiday in Cyprus, and as you can see, it's a huge outdoor family day. Like, people are off work, people are going to the beach. This is the beach down at Lighthouse Beach in Paphos, and you can see it's pretty crowded, and you can probably also see that there's a lot of things in the sky. Now, Green Monday is typically Clean Monday is kind of where they're getting at, right? And it's traditionally focused on sort of fasting foods and spending time outdoors. Again, it's in the name of Lent. And the type of things you're going to see everywhere are kites. So those dots that you can see all over the sky, and I'm going to play this video in a second, they're all kites. And the basic idea is that the kite rising into the sky represents like spiritual cleaning or cleansing. And it's like lifting the soul closer to God and that kind of thing, right? So you're leaving behind the negativity and world distractions before Lent begins. And that's what this day is kind of representing. Now, let me just play this video, because when we got to this, you've got kites everywhere. And when people first told us about kites, we were like, wait, I've flown a kite on the beach before. I took my son, we went down to Wales. You fly a kite, don't you, right? It's fine. Check this out. So this here, right? So we've gone down, and you see the cars everywhere, right? So you can see the cars everywhere. People on the beach. And you can see these aren't your local tourists, because they're not all in shorts and t-shirt or shorts and topless. These are people that are kind of living here. And for people that do visit and you come to the beach on this day by mistake, you're going to get a shock, because what it is, it's filled with people that are here. They're having picnics. As you can see, you've got families in the parks and fields if they're living inland, and people are flying kites. And so you go to these places, and like there, you've got people just literally rocked up to the beach, and they're cooking barbecues, and it's, like I say, it's a family event. It's a family social event. And so they're cooking all of this food and you got the barbecues going and everything else. And to be fair, it's one of the most visually Cyprus days culturally because there's just so much to see and you see it going on. And the beaches, the parks, they become packed. They become packed of people just kind of having this fun, And the thing is, as a grown man, quite like flying kites. It's actually really cool. So you end up like taking the kids and showing them what to do, and the kids like it for a bit, and that's cool. You also like it for a bit as well, and then you end up like kind of showing them what to do. And I need to buy a stunt kite for next year. I keep threatening to do that because the guys don't seem to have stunt kites here, but they go really high. But anyway, like this is one of those days where you kind of suddenly realize that Cyprus genuinely values family and outdoor social life, right? I'm just going to show you a couple more things from Green Monday. So again, on the beach, and you can see the kites here, and you see all the kites. It's just incredible. These guys are playing volleyball, fair enough. But again, it's a social, it's bank holiday. But rather than going and spending money and looking to just go and do loads of stuff in a retail aspect, no, people come to the beach and they relax. Like this is all free. You buy your kite, you come down, bring your barbecue. It's what people do, right? That's Green Monday. And I think I've got a photo of Green Monday. Nope, I'm going to come back to that one. That one's spoiled the surprise, but I'm going to come back to that anyway, so it's fine. Right. So what next? Well, you've got a grape festival. And I'm saying grape, G-R-A-P-E, like grapes and wine. So you've got grape festivals out here. Now, what that festival is basically just celebrating the harvesting of grapes. And it's then also the production of wine. And that's essentially what the festival is celebrating. And what you'll find is that grape festivals, they're common in wine producing villages because that's where they're producing it. So they're celebrating the wine. And you typically get these late summer, early autumn, because that's when the grapes are ready to harvest. So for those of you that have come out to Cyprus in the winter, and you'll notice that a lot of the restaurants are closed. And if you visited the same restaurants, you know the restaurants. Like when you live here, you know the restaurants. And when you go to them, you'll realize that actually a lot of the coverage in the restaurants is bare in the winter. And that's because typically what happens is all the grapevines will create the shade. So you'll have restaurants where you sit out at night and you are sitting under grapevines in the summer. So anyway, in the winter, it all looks bare. And you can go to like satellite photos of Viclari, the last castle for this. And I think the satellite photos are done out of season when the grapes have been harvested. You can see all the tables. But if you go there in the summer, it's completely shaded. You've got this natural shade from all the grapevines. So anyway, they harvest them end of summer, early autumn, and then they do these festivals because everybody's got loads of grapes. So all of a sudden, grapes are plentiful all over the island. And the prices come down in the shops. That's the other thing. The prices will come down in the shops because there's so many locally produced. Whereas if you go out of season, they go quite expensive because they get imported. At least I think they're imported because otherwise they don't seem to have massive stocks of fruit. It's very seasonal out here. So anyway, the grapes change in price throughout the year. But what happens is when you go to these festivals, you end up with like grape tasting, which sounds stupid, but you can go and taste grapes if you want. You get homemade wines. And I remember this was quite a shock for us because when we went, I'm so used to rip off UK. And what I mean by that is that because everything is so commercial in the UK, everything is about extracting money from people. It doesn't seem to matter what it is. Everything's trying to extract money from you one way or another. And so we go to these festivals, and yes, you can buy stuff there, right? Yes, they're selling local produce there, right? You're supporting the local farmers and everything else, and the local wineries or the vineyards. But they give so much away for free. So as an example, the one we went to, there was a wine store where they'd got loads and loads and loads of wine out, plastic cups, and you just help yourself. Now, if that was the UK, you just know the people in the UK, people will just take advantage. People are going to go there and they're going to get absolutely hammered on free wine, right? It's just the way it would be. People would not be responsible enough to not do that. But in the middle of these festivals, they're giving away wine. And people are there and they're sampling the wine, drinking the wine and stuff like that. But you don't see people getting leery. You're not seeing people getting drunk and smashed and everything else. And so for me, that was just really alien because not only was it really safe in terms of like you take your kids there, your family there, it's all really safe in that. But it was the cost of it as well. Because like I say, that would be an opportunity. In the UK, that would be an opportunity to rinse you for money, not to kind of share with you, right? So anyway, so grape festivals, you've got the wine, you've got the grapes, you've got Zivania, right? When things like that. And then you've got traditional dancing and you've got the live folk music. You have food stalls and things like that as well. I'm going to come on to some of this because what I want to show you is like you end up with kind of like a multi-generational thing. So the entertainment is typically done by the village locals, and you got different generations of older people, younger people there, and everybody's involved. Like I say, it's a social event. It's a bank holiday, but it's a social. Well, sorry, this isn't bank holiday, but it's a social event when the grape festivals happen. I think these were at the weekend. And so anyway, let me just flick to this. You can see the cameras there. So don't want to. Is it that one? Not that one. Yes, it is that one. Right. And is it this one as well? Yes, it is that one. Right. And it's going to be this one as well then. Cool. Right. So what we have here are, I'm going to hit play. You can't hear the music because of the way I've got my audio set up. I can hear it, so I'm going to turn it off. So you can't hear the music, but basically this is one of the great festivals that we went to. It's just in the middle of the mountains somewhere. It's this like little village. And again, you can see it's mostly locals. You know, you don't see many tourists there. You know, you see it, and got my boys out there. I don't know what I've done with the camera. Anyway, get it. Oh, he's hugging my arm. Anyway. So you have these festivals, and then you've got different dancing and stuff like that. Let me turn the audio off again so I can actually hear myself talk. You have the local dancers and stuff like that. So again, this is in the middle of the wine festival. The wine festival, the grape festival. I've got wine on the brain. So this is in the middle of the grape festival. And then the thing is, as well, when you're there, I was talking about it being safe for kids and everything else. So I'll just pause that. You kind of get the idea, right? So is there anything else going on this? No, the guys are dancing. So it's cool. Music's nice. And then there's this one here. There's me and my son and a donkey, right? Now, this is the park that is in the little village next to the square. So all of this is kind of like you could see, if you like, that stadium, that little arena from this park. And this park's all in the woods and everything else. And there's just people there, and they've got donkeys. As you can see there, the donkey's tied to the tree. And you find this a lot in Cyprus. You go to lots of different places, and things generally don't cost money. I mean, obviously, some things do. People have to earn a living. But for instance, the donkey is just there. The donkey's been marched for his day out at work. He gets all the local kids being able to climb on him and sit on him, and nobody's charging you for it. You know, they've got the owner there, and he's just letting you stroke the donkey, and the kids love it. The kids are loving it. So there you go. He gets to sit on the donkey, gets to walk around a little bit, and it's just really cool. And again, it's really nice to be out and doing these festivals, right? And I was somewhere today, actually. I wasn't going to talk about it today. I was going to talk about this later on, but it's in a different week. But I'm going to talk about what I've done today later on. Because again, you just go to these random places and it's so freaking cool. But anyway, so the grape festival, let's show you some grapes. For those of you that may or may not be aware, you've got this up here. So I can never pronounce it. Somebody local can tell me that I'm butchering the name. And if you can pronounce it phonetically or something, that would be awesome. And I'll always type it and I will read it. But it's like Salt Zoukos or something like that, right? And what it is, and you'll see these down in Paphos. You'll see them down at the waterfront sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I personally think when I first saw them, they looked disgusting. I was like, what is it? It doesn't look good, does it? It doesn't look good at all. And so you see them, and then you see them in different colors. And you've got the red ones, and you've got these ones, like the light ones, you've got the darker ones, right? Now, what it is, essentially, you get grapes and cranberries and other fruits. So these ones, the red ones are the cranberries. And you get almonds, and the almonds are thread through on a piece of string. And then what happens is they melt the grapes down, and they mix it with, I think, a bit of flour. But otherwise, it's natural. It's all natural stuff. It's like a proper whole food. And then they take the molten grape and they kind of pour it over the string of almonds. And it makes this. And it makes this stuff here. Now, when it's hanging, because I hang it to dry, it's all hung up like this. So you'll walk around and you'll see them. Or you've probably seen some yourself in the markets. And they look like this. And they just look disgusting. And you don't know what it is you're eating. It's grapes. These ones are grapes. The red ones are cranberries. The black ones, they're carob. We've got a carob tree in our garden. And if you ever go away, like if you ever go to any of the animal places, the donkeys love carobs, goats and things all seem to eat carobs. So, you can take the carobs off the tree and they'll eat them. But anyway, you can make this stuff with them. And again, it looks disgusting. I don't know how I ended up trying them, but what happens is when you buy them, because you can buy them in the supermarkets, and when you do, they're in little packets like this. So you got little packets of them like this. And there you go. That's typically what you'll see. Selling them on eBay. Come on. So anyway, the good news is that this is a lot cheaper in Cyprus. This is £19 on eBay. In Cyprus, you get a pack of these for about €6. So anyway, you've got different flavors and you get to try them. But what happens is when you come off these, so what happens is they get cut up into these little slices, about the size of maybe €2 worth of coin thickness, and that's how it gets served. And it's just an alternative to like a healthy sweet. It's like they are very sweet and very tasty. So I really like them. Oh, here you go. That's the sort of thing you'll see hanging up. And honestly, when you see them in a stall, it's just the sort of thing where you go, nah, I'm not trying that. I don't know how we ended up trying them, but anyway, we ended up trying them, and I really like them. I think they're great. They're really tasty, and it's because it's healthy as well. You can eat it as a sweet dessert, and it's very dense in calories, very dense in sugar because it's grapes or cranberries or whatever, and you got the flour, but it is a whole food, so worth bearing that in mind. So anyway, you've got these at the Grape Festival, but the other thing that they do when you go to the Grape Festival, and I've only seen these at the Grape Festivals, is they do bars of the stuff. So there you go. Like this. So instead of it being molten grapes over almonds on strings, they literally serve it as like a bar of this, melted grape. And obviously it's solidified. I've got a better picture of it somewhere. Any better pictures? Yeah, I mean, literally, I think we bought about a kilo of the stuff. It was really good. And it's super dense as well. So the one we bought, it was kind of like big bars of it anyway, and then they break it all up and they put it into a box for you. But yeah, anyway, so you get the point, right? So the Grape Festival, really, really cool, really like it. And if you like grapes, you'll love it. If you don't like grapes, just wasted 10 minutes of your life. Anyway, banana festivals, let's go on to those. So banana festivals, they're mostly associated and they're mostly done in the Paphos region. And the reason for that is because basically that's where most of the banana plantations are. They typically exist more around the Kataklysmos side, Paya, places like that, where we used to live. We had to drive through the banana plantations, probably why we were getting tarantulas and stuff. I mean, you get it around here as well. The tarantulas love the banana plantations. But seeing bananas hanging off the trees, that's cool. If you've never seen it, it's very cool. We have visitors come and they've made us pull over at the side of the road so they can go and get a picture next to the banana tree with bananas hanging off it. So it's cool. Anyway, so you've got bananas on this side of the island, and on the other side of the island, like Larnaca, you see a lot of the red soil. It's where you get your potatoes from. And so you've just got different parts of the island doing different things. So we get the banana festival near us. Now, I'm going to show you what that looks like because I can just find my pictures. Because again, a banana festival sounds rubbish, right? I mean, like, you do a banana festival. So this is the sign to the banana festival. This one was in Kataklysmos, and I won't read the Greek out to you. I'm going to assume that you're less educated than I, and if I read it out in Greek, you won't understand what I'm saying anyway. So I will spare you that, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I can't read Greek. I'm going to go here. So we have a monkey, because why not? It's bananas. Monkeys like bananas. You got again these blow up activities for kids. Now, why am I showing you this? Well, it is free. Again, it comes back to. They're not trying to rinse kids all the time, not trying to rinse families. It's a festival, so go and have a good time, right? Because when you go to these places, I'll just come back to me for a second. When you go into these places, you're celebrating the local production of bananas, the agriculture, and then you get lots of different banana-based type foods. You get different banana desserts, and you get the local produce there. You get music again, you get dancing. And again, it feels like a community event. People go because it's an event. So when they're putting these events on, yes, they're selling the produce, but kids can go and have fun for free. It's not about money. It's about socializing and everything else. It's a celebration with the people. So it's amazing. And the thing is, a lot of people don't even realize that Cyprus grows bananas. And when they do come here, it's surprising. And I wanted to look this up actually before I started speaking tonight. And I didn't look it up, so I'm a bit annoyed myself. But I think I'm accurate in saying this, but you'll have to do your own research. But I think I'm accurate in saying this. Cyprus bananas are typically not sold outside of Cyprus. And from what I understand, it's because the EU have got some law on how a banana should look, right? That's my understanding. And I wanted to research it, so I could be totally wrong. But anyway, when you look at a local Cypriot banana, If you look at a local Cypriot banana, they're short and stubby. They're short and fat. Whereas if you look at let's say a banana from, I don't know, Ecuador, they're longer. They look more like a traditional banana. In fact, let me just see if I can. I'm going to Google Cypriot banana, because they are different. And it's just going to show me a picture of a banana, isn't it? There you go. Ah, there you go. Look at that. It is educational tonight. Check us out. All right. So you see these. So like short, stubby things. Now, from what I understand, they're not attractive, and therefore they don't get sold off the island. So you don't see them anywhere in Europe. So you can buy both types of bananas in Cyprus. You can buy the normal bananas. You see them all here hanging off the tree. And so you can buy the normal bananas that you'd get in Tesco, Morrison's, wherever. But then you can buy the Cypriot ones. And the Cypriot ones are typically cheaper per kilo because it's locally grown. And they're so cheap, in fact, that when it comes to banana season, so our landlords, and you look at the bunches of bananas here. So our landlord in our first house, he used to bring us, I'm just trying to think if there's any, like, maybe like that, maybe not quite as many as on that, but basically between the two, he used to bring us this huge bunch of bananas, and you couldn't eat them. You couldn't eat them quick enough. So we'd give bananas away to like neighbors and stuff, but you just literally couldn't eat them because people have got so many of them. And then you get given them as gifts and all the rest of it. So anyway, so we've got all these bananas, and you were making banana muffins. Well, I wasn't. My wife was making banana muffins out of them. You're making banana milkshakes. You're kind of like trying to use bananas up like it's going out of fashion, and you just can't. You end up throwing so much away. It's such a shame. Even though you've given them out to everybody, you've tried to eat as many as you can. You've tried to cook as many as you can. And there's just so many of them. So anyway, they are your Cypriot bananas. So let me go back to now the banana festival. So again, I'm going to zoom in on some of these pictures. So you see here, got a variety of beers and stuff like that. And then you've got coffee and crepe, and you've got banana shakes, and you've got the bunches of bananas hanging up and stuff like that, right? So you get different banana foods and desserts and stuff like that. And every store, you can see all the bananas up. So this is in the middle. This is actually, you can see the church there. So Easter, there was a big bonfire here, and now the banana festival, they've got banana trees there, right? These are the leaves of the banana trees. So again, the community changes depending on the events and everything else, and it's just really nice. And as you can see, lots of families just having a good time. Slightly wide angle of the same shots, and I was hoping that I'd got a bit more. Okay, I haven't. But anyway, so this was when we were walking to the festival. And just to give you an idea then of what it's like. Again, you're not going to hear the sound tonight because the intention wasn't to let you hear the sound of this. But as you can see here, we've got loads of people, and you can see all the chairs. So we've got there quite early. All the chairs out here, because they have loads of live entertainment. They literally have live music on. And I think when we were leaving this, there was loads of live music playing, like when we were leaving later in the day. And again, beautiful place. You've got little park there next to the open area where it's going on. And for the eagle-eyed amongst you, if I just wind this back slightly, you can see you've got the sea in the background. And that's something quite strange, because when you move to Cyprus, when you live here long enough, and 2.5 years in, I still haven't quite got used to this. I keep having to pinch myself from time to time, because there are so many settings where you're looking around and you're like, holy crap, that's the sea there. You almost forget, like, wow, I live on an island, and wow, that's the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, I live here. And so just little things like that always catch me off guard. And like I do it when I'm doing the school run, and you see it, and you're like, man, that's the sea. And it sounds so stupid. If you live by the sea in England, you're like, oh, Mark's an idiot. But I lived in the Midlands, about as far away from any beaches as you could get. And so being able to just see the sea in backdrops of random things, I find it fascinating. Anyway, enough about the sea. You can see the sea. So let's go across. So there's my boy there. But let's just go. Oh, it's two. Okay. I thought there was more. There is a bit more. Okay. And again, so this is like right off the street. So fine. Look, we'll leave that there. So that's your banana festival. And then you've got your beer festivals. And I was going to show you some pictures of the beer festival because I thought I had some from last year. But the beer festival is very much a similar thing where you go, right, it's a bit like the wine festival. It's locally produced beer, but when you get there, like the one we go to is down at Paphos Harbour. I don't really drink that much beer, but again, you go for the atmosphere. You don't have to like beer to go and enjoy these events, because when you go there, they've got local crafts, they've got local beers, and they've got the foods, and you just got nice things. And this is the thing, there's always seems to be something going on. Very rarely do you go out. Well, not rarely, that's a lie. More often than not, you go out and it feels like, oh, there's something going on. You bump into these events, you see. Like, so we've been out to places and oh, this is on. And you're just spontaneous. You're like, cool, I'll go and join in, right? And so what you're finding is that these events, they'll attract local people, they'll attract expats as well. Because if you're going down here, I'm sorry, I'm pointing, you can't even see the screen. Right. That way. No, there you go. Camera's reversed. That way, if you look there. So those of you will know have been to Paphos. This is Paphos Castle. And this is really popular. So this was a smaller one last night. But in the beer festival, all the way around here, it comes round and all the way around onto the waterfront. And typically what happens is the beer festival, all of this is full. And they've got live music, they've got like bands on stage, and it is packed, but it's amazing. And you always feel safe as well. This is the surprising thing. You always feel safe, things like this. So what I've got on the screen isn't actually the beer festival. This was taken last night because we went down to Paphos Food Festival. So there was a food festival going on. I only found out about it yesterday. And so we were just like, okay, there's a food festival going on. Cool, let's go down and check it out. So me and my boy went down. I left my wife at home. Me and him just went down because why not? Give my wife a break. We'll have some time together. And so we went down. And this photo is taken from, we climbed up some rocks and we climbed up on the rocks by the harbour and we're just taking this picture looking down. And we ate this. So again, because it's a food festival, you just see different things that you wouldn't typically have back home. Now you might go, Mark, I've had barbecued corn on the cob before. I would beg to differ. I'd beg to differ you've not had it like this, because this was all on the stalk, as you can see it there. It's on a flame. But whenever I've barbecued corn, it's always been in tin foil, wrapped up and stuff like that. And then you've got all different, I should have took a picture of the menu. You've got all different things you can put on it anyway. But the way the corn's done, like that was a meal in itself. And I remember the Christmas markets, and you could go to the Christmas markets and they would literally sell you like a cup of sweet corn, hot sweet corn. So you're walking around, it's in the mountains, it's cold, and you're just eating a cup of hot sweet corn and different seasonings on there. You can have spicy salts and stuff like that. So it's just really nice. It's just really cool. We really liked it. So anyway, you've got these local delicacies, which is like a honey ball type thing, and they were cooking them there last night. And yet again, I'm just going to finish with this video here. Turn the sound off because you can't hear it. You just kind of get a feel for kind of how busy it is. That's my boy. You get a feel for how busy it is. And so you're walking around these places and it just feels safe. Like I'm sure crime does happen in these places, but it just feels safe. And to this point, actually, I want to come on to this today. Well, I want to come on to it today. I want to tell you a story about today because, and I'm going to be ending this content soon. And we'll open the floor up to questions. But earlier today, we went to, this is me and my boy, my business partner and his son, we went to a motor show over in Ackner Speedway, and it was a petrol head event. Now, if you're wondering what that looks like, let me just show you here, and I wasn't going to talk about this tonight. Like I said, I wanted to do this a different day, but it kind of fits in with me talking about security and everything else. So let me just give you a flavor for it. So can I just show you some? Yeah, you'll get the gist of it if I just show you this. So basically, there was cars drifting, and these guys are just drifting around the track, right? And so my son went on his first drifting experience today. He went around the track as well. But basically, so he's gone out there. In fact, let me just show you another picture. So super cool guy, right? I'm going to show you this actually. I will talk about this now. I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but I will talk about this tonight. So you can see my son there. He's sitting in this car here. And this guy on the left, absolute legend. So when we were trying to get my son into the cars for drifting, he was going around. So this car was going around the track. And we went over to him because like we'd paid so he could go and have a ride in this car, or not in this car, but in a car just to drift around the track. And the guy was the guys that were running it were like super chill. It's like, yeah, take your ticket and you just walk up to any of the cars you like. You give them your ticket, and they will then let you just go and drift in those cars, or let them drift. They're the drivers. So as an example, in fact, no, let me show you this because this blew me away today. And this is worth showing because it's a classic example of how the UK and Cyprus are so different. And in my opinion, how and why Cyprus is so much better for things like this, right? So let me just show you. In fact, there you go. Is a video of the car going out, right? And you'll see the guys drifting. Let me just turn the sound off. So he's going out in a second. So these cars that are drifting around, and he goes out and follows them, right? So these cars that are drifting around, we were watching them. We were watching them for a while. And then when we went and we let my son go in, and like say, he paid like 20 euros or something, we've been watching these cars at this point for about 3/4 of an hour, maybe an hour. And they're drifting around to the racing, going side by side and everything else. And then when you go and pay, what you realize is the guys on the track, they're just having fun. It's not a race or anything like that. You know, they weren't timing, or maybe they were timing it, but the guys were just out having fun. And when you go out for your ride, like that is what you were going out in. They were taking you on the track. The racing was happening with passengers in the car. It was the most surreal thing. So I've signed my son's life away, put him in the car. He's loving it. And he's gone out. And next thing you know, he's drifting around the track with these professional drivers. And I was like, man, so freaking cool. And I know it might sound irresponsible, but honestly, like the amount of fun that people were having, and you get to walk around. In fact, I just need to show you some of this as well, because you're walking around where the cars are. And yeah, let me show you this. So you're walking around where the cars are. And these were like so all these Audis over here, they were queued up ready to go out because they were doing a race. This was the Toyota Supra that you've just seen going around the track. You've got some go-karts, you've got this Mitsubishi Evo. And anyway, so walking around here, let's just speed it up. All the Audis that were going out, S3s and Audi TTSs and stuff like that. So they were all going around the track. But you're just able to freely walk around, right? So this car was out on the track and you're just able to freely walk around. And I just find that quite strange because there's no security. You know, you're looking at all the cars, there's no security or anything like that. The guys are in the garages, they're fixing the cars up, they're changing tires. You know, we were watching these MR2s all race around prior to this. And so what you're finding is it's just super chilled. Now, let me just come on to one last video because I was talking about security, and the reason why I tell you about this and the reason why I'm showing you and the differences between Cyprus and the UK. So anyway, so when we were looking to get in a car, this blue car that my son was in, so this car that you just kind of seen going around the track. So this car here, he was going around and we said, I've got tickets. And the guy says, we just ask for a ride in one of the cars and give him the ticket. And he goes, he says, that's cool. But he says, I'm not a professional driver. So it has to be one of the professional drivers. So this was just a random guy. He's turned up doing a track day. And so anyway, he goes, but come and find me afterwards. Come and find me when I'm parked up and we'll let your kids go in the car. You can sit in the car, take some pictures. You can rev the engine if you want to, stuff like that. Like, just so freaking chilled, like so really chilled out. And the guy was so friendly, right? So anyway, let me just go back to what I wanted to show you. So then you've got this, right? And you'll see here, if you can see that, there's a car drifting around the car park. And we were walking over there. You can see the people walking around. So this car drifting here, he's doing figure of eights around there. And we were parked up. In fact, you can see this lady just here. If I can't zoom that in. So the person just there. At one point, there was a car. So she was in the middle and the car was drifting in a circle around. Have you ever seen Tokyo Drift? And the car, you know, there's a scene in the movie where he asks, like the American protagonist, the American good guy, not the protagonist. The American good guy asks Han, why does he do what he does? And anyway, he goes and does a drift around this other car with two ladies in it, and then they give him her phone number. They give him her phone number. So anyway, on this, you've got a woman stood there with a camera. And this guy was drifting around it in the car park. So you could literally, there was no high-vis jackets. There was no red tape. There was no yellow tape. And I didn't even see police. Like there was no police there today, but also there was no trouble. Like this was just a car event at a racetrack. Nobody was causing any trouble whatsoever. Health and safety doesn't exist, right? It just didn't exist. And people were just being sensible. People were having a really, really good time. And so you've got all of these things happening and all of that's super cool, right? But then we were going back to the car. And when we were going back to the car, I walked up to the car, went to open the car, and I looked in the car in the back, and clear as day, my son has left his iPad on the back seat. And I looked through the window, and of course, he's got this like translucent case on it. And you got the Apple logo, because it's an iPad. It's got the Apple logo peeking through, and it's just on the back seat, clear as day. And I was like, Jacob, what are you doing? You've left the iPad on the back seat. And I kind of looked in the window. It's like, oh, sorry. Huh? And so there was a part of me that was a bit like, okay, that's a really stupid thing to do. And it is, because I've still got my British mentality on. However, 2.5 years in, I'm still got this British mentality of don't leave stuff on display. People are going to nick it, right? This iPad had been there for about, 4 hours on full display in the car. No smashed windows, nothing. It was that safe. And when you look at the safety aspect again of Cyprus, when you look at the culture of all of these different events, you don't have the red tape. You've just got people going about lives, having fun, not being restricted with health and safety and all of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying health and safety is a bad thing, because in certain circumstances it is. But in the UK, it just feels like it's gone too far, right? Everything just seems to be restrictive of the experience. And we came to a day like this. We've gone to this track today, like 10 euros or something to get in, right? It was super cheap, and people just having fun all day. And I didn't get that. Maybe you get it where you live. Maybe I just didn't live in a very good part of the UK. I lived in the Midlands. But anyway, I didn't get anything like this when I lived in the UK. And if you went to any of these car events, granted, this was over the other side of the island. This was a 2-hour drive. I've driven over 200 miles today to get to this, drove 2 hours there this morning and then 2 hours back tonight before jumping on here. But we went there and honestly, we just didn't get that type of thing in the UK. And if you did, it'd be crazy expensive. And then if you went, it would be crazy restrictive. And to go and walk around the cars in the pit area, granted, it's not Silverstone, right? It's just a little racetrack in Cyprus. It's not Silverstone, but it was so easy going. The experience far surpassed anything I've been to in the past. I've been to Formula One before. And I'm not saying this was better than Formula One. What I'm saying is that when you go to somewhere like Formula One, everything is like security everywhere. Like everything is just maxed out all the time. And I get it, it's more expensive, there's more cars, you've got all the celebrities there. I'm not trying to compare the two, but what I'm saying is like the motor racing events I've been to in the UK, they've typically been either high profile like Formula One, or they were sort of banger racing and everything else when I was a kid. But I just feel like I've lost this magic. I feel like with all of these events, I feel like when you go anywhere in the UK, I just felt like things are restrictive, things are trying to extract money from you and all of that. And anyway, so I just like it. And I think when people come out to Cyprus, it was one of the things that surprised me, is just there's so much to go and see and do. There's stuff that you think wouldn't be interesting, like a grape festival, or freaking a banana festival. Come on, not interesting stuff, but actually it is. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed that tonight. Hope you found it moderately interesting, if nothing else. And what we're going to do now, we're going to go across to live Q&A in a second. I'm just going to jump onto this and just say, look, if you have find this interesting, if you have find it, if I can speak, if you have found this interesting in any way, shape or form, then give it a like. And if you haven't done so already, then subscribe as well, because I'm going to try and do more ad hoc lives in the future. And so if you're subscribed, you get notified when I go live. I think there's still around 50% of people now watching this that aren't subscribed. So yeah, if you aren't subscribed and you want to know when I'm going live next, then give it a subscribe. And if you think somebody is going to benefit from anything that I'm saying, then please give it a share too. I've seen a few of you doing that now on Facebook, so thank you for the support of those that are doing this. If you are needing anything, if there's things I can do, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on Instagram and things like that, because what I'm trying to do here is just help and document what life is really like out here in Cyprus. Because when I moved out to Cyprus, there was nobody really showing this side of life. People were talking about tax, and people were talking about the beaches, and people were talking about all the kind of the normal stuff that you'd expect. I'm trying to show what life's actually like out here. So anyway, hopefully you find this useful. Like I say, if you can, give it a like if you haven't done so already. That'd be awesome. Subscribe if you're not, and share if you haven't. Right now, we are going to go over to the live Q&A, and I'm going to just have a quick sip of my drink as well. Who have we got online tonight? Got Juliet. Hello. Hi, Juliet. Good to have you on. Railway History UK, Stephen. Good evening, Mark, from Tracy and Steve. Evening, Tracy. Evening, Steve. Good to have you both on. Thanks very much for joining. I've got Mike Cummings. Evening, Mark. Evening, Mike. Evening, Joanne, if you're watching. Who else we got? We've got Philip Shaw, evening, Mark. Evening, Philip. Good to have you on. Cliffy Karen. Hey, Cliffy Karen. Evening. How you doing? Thanks very much. Good evening, Mark. Thank you very much. Aniela Parada, my mother-in-law. Hi, Mark. Cheshire more. We've got Music for Life. We've got, hi, Mark. How are you? I am really good, thanks, Mihal. I hope you're doing well too. We've got Premium 2477. Good evening, Mark. I'm shipping my car under TOR. That's the Transfer of Residency Scheme, for those of you who don't know, with Peter Morton next month. Shared container, so just going to fill up my car with some goods. Cool. Okay, you can do that. Yep, you can absolutely do that. For those of you that don't know, if you are shipping a car to Cyprus, you can absolutely fill it up. So when we put our car in the front of our container, we had a 40-foot container. We put our car in the front, and you could literally stack it out with as much as you could, and then you put your goods in the back as well. So yeah, you can absolutely pack it with goods. But you're asking, can you give me any advice or what to do or avoid to help the process go as smoothly? Well, in a minute, somebody's other comment has jumped. To go as smoothly as possible. I had Cypriot ID, so won't need to deal with immigration. Okay, so you're talking about advice for the car, is my assumption then, is what it sounds like. So you're talking about advice for the car. And what would my advice be? Well, the thing is, it's a bit of a tricky one because you're going to be dealing with customs. You're moving it over transfer residency. You will be dealing with customs when you do this because fundamentally, they will want you to prove that you've owned it for more than 6 months. They're going to want you to show your insurance certificates from the UK. So make sure you've got a record of it being insured for longer than 6 months in the UK. You need to make sure, timings wise, that the 6 months you've owned the car, you are in the UK at that time. And the reason why I say that, and what I mean by that is, so we know somebody who they'd bought a car, it was like just over 6 months, or just over 6 months before they were due to move. And I think in that 6-month period, they'd gone away on holiday. They'd gone away somewhere, a week or two, whatever it was. I don't know the exact specifics of their situation, but what I do know is that what happened was because they were out of the country, for whatever reason, immigration looked at that and went, well, you've not had it for 6 months in the UK because you weren't in the UK for a period of time. They missed their they missed the customs 6-month deadline thing by as like 1 or 2 days. And they had to pay all of the import duty and all of the VAT because of that. So they like it. They say law is 6 months, but they kind of look for every reason to want to charge you the duty. So they always say the longer the better. I think we'd owned our car for about 11 months before we brought it out, before we came out. And it was the previous calendar year as well, which made it look better on paper. So make sure that if you've only just bought a car and you're thinking, that's okay, I bought it 6 months to the day ago, make sure you've not been out of the country in that time because they could penalize you for it. Make sure you've got insurance that covers you for that time so you can prove ownership. Also, if you bought it from a garage of some sort, whether it was secondhand or whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you bought it from a garage, make sure you've got the invoice documentation because they're going to want to see the value of the car when you bring that over. And if you bought it secondhand from, sold as seen from a person like you or I, might be a little bit more tricky. But then what you probably want to do is, because you're going to want to show bank statements or something that shows the movement of money. Because fundamentally what they want to do is they want to prove the value of the car. What they don't want is you having a 50 grand car or whatever. Let's say they were going to charge you VAT on it because you missed a date. They want to know the value of the car. But if you've got a 50 grand car and a 15 grand invoice, they're going to be like, hang on a minute, something doesn't smell right here. So make sure you've got documentation to prove it. Make sure you've got proof of the duration of the ownership, ideally proof of purchase as well. That's going to help you. And then when you get here, you've got a period of 6 months to get the car registered. And if you are running near the end of time, what was happening with me anyway, don't know if it'll happen with you, but what happened with me anyway is that customs kept calling me up because I was going around this circle with, without Peter Morton. Because like I say, we got left high and dry with the car, unfortunately. So we were going back and forth trying to figure out what the hell we needed to do. And I ended up paying another guy to help me get registered on Cypriot plates because I just didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, while we were going through that process, I was running out of time. And so HMRC, Customs, Cypriot customs, they called me up 2 or 3 times to make sure that I didn't go beyond the 6 month. And they were like, cool, we can just extend it. And they just kept extending it, extending it. I think I had it for about a year in the end on British plates. And so that 6 month period is crucial. So don't worry about it. When you get it here, you get it off the back of the container. Make sure you got your paperwork. You're going to have to go to customs anyway because you'll have to show them all the paperwork to release the car. And then you've got a period of time. They'll tell you what you need to do, where you need to go. I mean, it didn't make sense to me, and it felt like I kept messing stuff up. But what I would say is if you get really stuck and you want to reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on Instagram, and I can put you in touch with the guy that helped me with my car in the end. The guy that helped me actually get it all on Cypriot plates. I mean, he was really good. He actually worked in, so it was road transport. He worked in the road transport department, and he basically, fast tracked me. I was paying him money for this. I remember it was quite interesting. I was paying him some money for his service, and I think he misunderstood me, or I misunderstood him, or I just didn't know the process. And I didn't realize what I was paying for at the time either. I remember speaking to him, and he was telling me about something, and I said, and of course, at this point, I'm using ChatGPT and I'm using Google, and I'm going, yeah, but why do I need to do all of that when I can just do this? Or why do I need to pay this and I can just do that? I don't really understand it, And I was questioning it, and he goes, you can absolutely do that. You don't need to pay me. You have to join that queue over there. And it was like a mile long. I was like, oh, okay. And then you're going to speak to the happiest guy in the world. For those of you who've seen that video, the guy in the road transport department, and you go in, the happiest guy in the world works on that desk, and you have to speak to that guy, and you'll be going around in circles. And so I ended up just paying this guy, and then I realized afterwards when I paid this guy, I'm like, okay, now I see this is the way it works. So I've got this guy's details, and if ever I was to buy another car from the UK or whatever, I'd just give him a call and just get him to help me import it. He's the guy I'd use. I think I paid. What did I pay? About 150 euros or something like that for this help anyway. But for me, it was worth it. It just took all the pain away, just took the stress away, just got it sorted and it's done. And he even called up the guy to get the number plates, told me where to go. I went to the garage. They were expecting me, and gave the guy some cash, and you just can put the number plates on my car. And that was it. Done. I'm away. Anyway, hopefully that answers the question. That's probably the best advice I can give you at the moment. I don't know if it's helped you or not. Hopefully it has. Mihao, I am a petrol head too, but for motorbikes, have you noticed a lot of people riding motorbikes there, whether it's off-road or just road ones? Yes, you see a lot of motorbikes out here on the island, Mihao, and I think people out here that ride motorbikes, they don't like life. And what I mean by that is we can be driving down the motorway 60, 70 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, because that's the speed limit. You're driving down the motorway at 60, so it's 100 kilometers an hour. And motorbikes will come past you, and the guys will have a crash helmet on. In fact, I was having this conversation today. They'll come past you with a helmet on, but they'll be in a t-shirt, and the t-shirt will be flapping away in the wind. And I'm kind of thinking, if you fall off at that speed, you're probably better off not to wear your helmet. You want to go as quickly as possible because the tarmac isn't going to stop at bone. And so people are driving motorbikes out here, riding motorbikes out here. And honestly, I just think it's nuts because clearly it's too hot in the summer to wear leathers. So people just ride around in shorts and t-shirt, and could you imagine doing that in the UK? Or Poland in your case, but could you imagine doing that? So today's event, there was a motorbike out on the track. There was supposed to be a MotoGP event type thing taking place because there was drag racing and other things. Didn't see the drag racing. That didn't seem to happen. We saw one motorbike going around the track instead of the car. We saw one motorbike. And Yanni from Yanamize and Carway, if you've ever seen those programs, Yanni was supposed to turn up. And we'd been there for like half a day and he hadn't turned up at that point. So, maybe they did when we went. Maybe the loads of motorbikes rocked up later on in the evening. We had to come back because I was doing this and my son was going to school tomorrow, so he's had to go to bed. So, there's definitely events out here. There are motorbikes on the island, and you see a lot of bikers riding around, but, at your own peril, I think, because people get too hot in the summer. And I wouldn't, I like motorbikes. I've never ridden one. I like them. I respect them. And if I was going to do it, I'd want to be in as many leathers and protective gear as possible. But yeah, anyway, it will cater for you out here. And the thing is, there are some really nice roads you can ride around. I mean, massive potholes in some, but definitely some nice scenic routes you can go around on your bike. We've got Ted. Hi, Mark. Currently in Cyprus. Cool. I really like Paya. Do you know the area and A? Do you know the area and A? I feel like you got cut short there. So I'll tell you what I know about Paya. Paya is, there's a couple of things, right? I'm hesitating because there's a couple of things. I saw a post on Facebook about this recently, which is why I'm hesitating. Let me show you the maps. Not on that screen though, because that's going to show you. Actually, I can just do this. 1 second. Let me just come to this. I'm going to show you the maps. Let's go to an incognito browser. You don't want to see all my bookmarks, do you? Let's go to maps. And we'll go interactive on. Oh, before you continue, don't want to sign in. Google, go away. Yeah, let's make it interactive. I reject your cookies, Google. Reject all of them. I'm not in the UK. My VPN thinks I'm in the UK because I was watching Eurovision yesterday, only because I really like the song Jala or Jala. And so the only way you can watch it on BBC iPlayer right here is to use a VPN. And on that note, for anybody that comes out here, wants to watch TV, you get to be a pirate, and I get to lie to the BBC, and I get to go, yes, I have a TV license when I don't. And I get to change over and I go, it's an honesty box. And I ticked it and I watched the BBC iPlayer for the first time in about 4 years. I've never watched Eurovision, never seen it before. I knew of it, I've never seen it before. And I just liked the song Jarl. I did this video last week, so I kind of got into the music, kind of liked it. I ended up watching it. So anyway, I'm on VPN, that's why I'm in the UK. That's a bit of information you didn't ask for, isn't it? Right, Paya, let's go to Paya. So for those of you that don't know, just so that you're aware, so the question being asked is, what's Paya like? Paya is on the left-hand side of the island here. Now, let's just talk about this in regions for a second, because I did see this on Facebook, and it was a little bit of a point of contention. People were saying, Paya's lovely, people diss Paya, Paya's, gets a lot of bad rep for whatever reason, but Paya involves the sea caves, Agios Georgios, this is all Paya. So, what do people mean when they're asking about Paya? Typically, what people mean when they're asking about Paya is Paya Village, or this place here. You've kind of got this, which is all included in the Paya postcode, but then if you zoom out even more, you see this is Paphos Forest. This side of the island is technically all Paphos. So I used to live in Leicester in the UK, and you've got Leicester and Leicestershire. In Cyprus, you have Paphos as the city and Paphos as the district, which again helps the postal system. If you've ever seen my postal video, you start to get a picture as to why the post doesn't work that well out here, or at least it doesn't seem to for me. So Paya, you've got Paya, the village, and you've got Paya, the sea caves. So I'm going to give you a breakdown on all of them, Ted, because I don't know which part you were asking about specifically. So let's go on to, first of all, Paya, the village. For me, Paya is a bit like Little Britain. There are a lot of expats there. You get locals as well. You get Greeks there as well. You get Cypriots as well. But you get a lot of English people there. And if you go out to the pubs in the evening or the bars, you will see a lot of English people. Now, for me, I didn't want to leave the UK to then come to a place like Cyprus and then be surrounded by people in pubs, and it feels just like the UK, right? Albeit the weather's nicer. Let me show you, though, what some of that looks like. So if I just, let me go to satellite view, because I want to show you this, because people will go, oh, no, Paya's lovely. It is nice. It just isn't for me. I'm not saying it isn't for you. It just isn't for me because it felt too British. And they really play on that, and I'm trying to just show you, where are we? Paya post office. That's the post office. Oh, that used to be my post office. Yeah, right. Let's drop down here. Right. Drop down. Let's drag this little guy. So refurbished all this back in 2022 when we were here doing the trial living. In 2022, this road was all ripped up. So again, you've got, kind of looks cool on the outside, this Harris bar. I've never been in, but I've know people that go there and have been there, and it's like Britain, right? I'm trying to come up this way because I'll find the place. I'm kind of trying to find the place to prove my point. Not here. Where is it? I thought it was there. Is it not there? Maybe it's. I thought it was that. Right, hang on a minute. Need to find this now. Pay a chippy. Oh, the Pay a Chippy. It's literally called Pay a Chippy, right? Doesn't get much more British than that, does it? Oh, there it is. Right. The Payer chippy. So you've got a chippy there, right? If you go to the supermarket, which I think is down this way, remember, where is it? Presto Mini Market. Hold on a minute. Britannia. Britannia kiosk, right. So I thought it was called, right. I mean, you can't tell me this isn't British. You can't tell me it doesn't feel British, right? It is a very British market. And I'll tell you now, in fact, yeah, this is Cyprus Unfiltered. So I'm going to be unfiltered for a second. I'm just going to tell you, but I did an interview video and I said I wasn't right. JTech. Let's go to this guy. So this was the guy that had never heard of Starlink. He was asking me if it was legal. But the reason why I'm telling you this, I want to tell you this here. So this company here in Payer, the owner, Johnny, his name is, the owner of this company. I remember when I went in and I bought my overpriced router, and this was a router that you could buy on Amazon. Come back to me for a second. It was a router you could buy on Amazon for about £30 in the UK. And here in Payer, this guy was charging about 65, 70 euros. And again, if you wanted the premium router, that was 150 euros, which was about 60 euros online on Amazon at the time. Now, I get what you're saying. You're probably sitting there going, yeah, Mark, but it's an island and it's imported. Of course, it's going to be more expensive. Yeah, no, I get that. What I didn't like was when the owner told me, well, it's all right because all you expats can afford it, right? That felt to me like, because it's English, because it's a kind of like English central, it just felt like you were going to get ripped off by people there because they knew that they had a captive audience. So for you to be able to move to Cyprus, you've either got to have a certain level of wealth, a certain level of income, or you've retired before Brexit and you've probably got cash in the bank anyway. So it just felt like people take advantage of the British expats. Now, yes, quite often British expats have more money than the locals do. But the fact that the shops are just openly being like that, it's like, yeah, but it's all right for you. You guys can all afford it. So just, what you're complaining about type thing, I didn't sit well with me. So anyway, let's just come back to this. So what's Payer like? I mean, you do get break-ins in Payer. I know people that have been broken into in Payer, but you get that everywhere. You can get broken into in Tala, right? But what is Payer like? I mean, it's actually quite nice. If you just looked at it aesthetically, you've got, so this is the council offices. In fact, actually, if you ever come and you have to get a document, yeah, here you go. This is some local knowledge for you. If you ever come and you're in the Payer postcode area, you're in the Payer districts, you need to get your rental contract stamped and signed. You have to come to this little office here. And that's where the local mukta is in Payer. And you pay him, I think, €5 for a stamp, and then he stamps your contract, and then you're on your way. But you pay this guy €5, and he's only there at certain times of the day. Nice guy by all accounts, but yeah, that's the local mukta, because this is, like I say, the council building. So that's where you go. But yeah, you've got little coffee shops here, quite nice. There's one, just this one. I've gone too far. Where is it? Oh, hang on. Oh, this is where they're going to build. For those of you that saw my Street View video last week, it was ridiculous. Things were being built in real time in Street View. Anyway, there's a coffee shop around here. Thought that was it. You can go down here and there's stuff down here. And you got bars and stuff like that. But anyway, it's nice. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. And in fact, I'm talking about feels like in Payer they're going to rip you off. Let me be totally fair. I like to try and be as unbiased as possible. Where's the post office? I want to show you guys this. Peggy's Garden, something there. Where's the post office? Just before this. Down here. Where are you? I think it's this here. Let's just go to Street View a second. No. Well, so I want to show you this. Like, I want to try and be as fair as possible. Right. No, that's not it. Got all excited then. No, it is it. Is that it? Right. Let's just drop down here a second. No, it's not it. Right. 1 second. Sorry. Post office. Right. Okay. So opposite the post office. Yeah. This guy, wheels and tires. Right. I like to give credit where it's due. This is not a sponsored segment. I have no reason to, I have no reason to big this guy up other than the service that he gave me and my wife. Lost it. It's gone cloud. Like, anyway, right, there you go. So you'll pass this. And can I get in here? No. Street View didn't go down there. Rubbish. Anyway, right. So this little tire shop on the left-hand side, there's tires and wheels, right? In here. So we went there. I'll bring this back to me for a second. So we went there, and he was the total opposite of the internet shop. This guy couldn't do enough for you. And my wife went there with a blowout, and she kind of like limped the car there one time. She's got a tire was shredded in the back, and he helped her out, and he put these remolded tires on, because on the Mercedes that we have, the rear tires are wider than the front tires. It's just the way the car is. You know, the rear wheels are bigger than the front wheels, quite often the case. So she's gone in there, and she needed a tire, and they didn't have one. So they didn't have a new one, but they had a remold. Remold, like a part worn tire. Yeah. And for those of you that heard my car videos, I talked about when you come to the island, and, you know, the Mercedes was quite a common car. And so I brought it over because I wanted to make sure that there was parts on the island and stuff like that. So I come to this tiny little tire shop, and my wife did, and they happened to have a remolded tire that was the exact size I needed, because there's a lot of Mercedes E-Class on the island. So he fits it. And it was something like, I don't know, 70 euros or something like that for this remolded tire. And that was it. She was on her way. And then in the meantime, I wanted to replace the remolded tire with, was I going to replace it? Maybe I was going to use it. I can't remember. But anyway, the remolded tire then had a bulge. And this is why I would never normally buy part worn tires. I'm saying remolded, part worn tires. That's why I'd never normally buy a part worn tire, because you don't know if somebody's curbed it. And if somebody's curbed it, it can damage the sidewall, the tire wall integrity, and then therefore it's weaker. And that's what happened. So whoever had it previously must have done something, because then when it's on my car, after like a couple of days, the sidewall bulged out. So anyway, so I've ordered 2 new tires off this guy. And I thought, it's fine. You know, he helped my wife out. We'll give him the business. You know, we could go and shop around and try and get the cheapest price. I'm like, no, he's helped me. He's helped my wife. So we'll sort it out. So we went there, bought 2 new tires. And he didn't have to do this because his part worn tire was now knackered because of the sidewall anyway. But I told him, you know, we need 2 new tires. The one that you put on said, you know, it's getting us around, but the sidewall's bulging and everything else. When we paid for the 2 new tires, he discounted the price of the 2 new tires for the amount that we paid for the part worn tire. Now that for me was staggering. I've never had that done in the UK before whatsoever. Like when it's sold, and you don't get your money back. And so he looked at it and he goes, no, I'll just, you bought this, you've come back to me for the other ones, and he just took the price of the part worn tire offers. So I'm like, sweet, thank you very much. I didn't expect him to do it, but he did it. About 3 or 4 months after that, I've got 2 new tires in the back. I'm driving around, we picked up a puncture. Oh, bloody hell, I've got a puncture here. So it was a slow puncture because it kept going down. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I blew the tire up and I went over to him. I thought, you know, I'll take my tire business there now. So I went over to him and said, I think I've got a puncture, rear left wheel, rear right wheel. Can you just check it out for me, please? Like, yeah, sure, no problem. He jacks the car up, takes the tire off, wheels it inside. He's gone like 5 minutes, comes back and he goes, yep, you've got a puncture. I fixed it for you. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And he's like kind of done the whole proper fix and everything. And he put the bit of mushroom rubber in it. Is that fixing the tire? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he puts the tire back on the car, puts the wheel back on the car, drops the car down. He goes, there you go, all ready for you, sir. I was like, cool, how much do I owe you? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? Don't worry about it. It's 5 minutes. I was like, I can't not pay you for fixing my puncture. He said, no, don't worry about it. It was like kind of like, you know, you can pay for the next one. I was like, no, I need to pay you now. And he's just like, don't worry about it. Honestly, it's fine. So he wouldn't let me pay him. And so I'm coming back to you. Like, I want to be fair where I can. Maybe not everybody, but maybe it was just that internet shop. Maybe my perception of payer was wrong, and maybe they're not all trying to rip people off, because these guys definitely don't try and rip you off. I really liked them. I have a lot of respect for these guys. So even now, you know, if I ever get tires, I always go here because of the service they gave me. So I really liked it. And then you got the post office here, and that's the smoky post office that you'll see on the postal video that I did. Anyway, sure. That's payer. So this is a long-winded answer to the question. That's payer, as in the town. You've got upper payer and you've got lower payer. Upper payer has amazing views. Lower payer, not so much. So if you're up in upper payer, and you've got kids and everything else, like you wouldn't want to be. I mean, we know people that are in kind of upper payer, and they'll go to ISOP, and it's about a half an hour drive. It's a bit of a trek. So if we were going to live in payer, the furthest in we would live now is probably lower payer down here, because you save probably 5-10 minutes off your drive, off your journey. So depending on if you've got kids, if they're going to school and stuff like that, you might end up be better off going to TLC or, the British Aspire school, because you might get to them quicker. But that's payer as in the town. Now, that's a whistle-stop tour of payer the town, but it's payer the town. Then you've got payer the area. So then you've got Agios Georgios, you've got the sea caves, and you kind of got all down here. You've got this shipwreck, which some of you may or may not have seen. And this is all classed as payer as well. And so all of this is technically payer postcode. Coral Bay, I think, is a payer postcode as well. So between these three areas, and I'm going to work up from Coral Bay. If Stephen's on, then he'll say, Coral Bay, the crime hotspot. It's because I always say that. Coral Bay does seem to have a lot of crime because of where the tourists are and everything else. But hey, wherever you get tourists, you're going to get crime. So Coral Bay, I personally wouldn't want to live there. It's fine for a holiday. Yeah, people can go there on holiday and stuff like that. We'll go down to the beach, come down to Coralia Beach, quite nice. Coral Bay is quite nice. But I wouldn't really want to live in Coral Bay, if I'm honest. Again, you've got chip shops there and stuff like that. There's some cool bars there. We've been to a few bars there over the last couple of years. But, again, I wouldn't want to live there. So then you go, right, well, what else is in payer? And you come up this way and you go, well, you've got the sea caves. Now, the sea caves are very nice. It's very upmarket. In fact, this is actually where we are developing our own property up here. So this is where we're developing our builds in piece of land near here. And actually, you can see the shipwreck. You'll be able to see the shipwreck from the roof terraces that we're building. But this area is quite nice, but it is a lot more expensive than Coral Bay or payer, as in payer the town. And then you come even further up this way and you get to Cap St. George's, and this is crazy expensive. So this is where you've got like your multi-million-pound villas down the seafront. It's like a closed community. It's a resort. People can go. We used to play paddle tennis there, and you'd go in and you've got the facilities. You've got these courts here. You've got the hotel where if you come in on holiday, you'd be here. But then you've got the residences, and these residences are just crazy expensive. But it's a very, very upmarket and affluent area. I think I keep hearing rumors, but I think Shakira's got property here and stuff like that. So that is a whistle-stop tour of payer the town and payer the region, payer the area. Hopefully that's helpful. If you've got any more questions, give me a shout. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Let's see what else is in the chat. Wow, lots going on tonight. Okay, let me play catch up. I'm scrolling up. Ferry and Monica. Evening, Ferry. Evening, Monica. Hope you guys are well. Hi, Mark. You're right. Recently, we went to the food festival in the UK. They asked £18 per person just to get in. Nothing included in price. We didn't pay for our food festival yesterday. We just went in. We paid for the motor racing today. That was €10, right? When you go to these places, you're not paying for them. You're not paying to get into the festival. That the idea is you spend money at the festival, not paying the people to run the festival. I mean, that's just nuts. But again, it just comes back to what feels like rip off Britain. And I know people talk about rip off Britain. There's things in Britain that are like way cheaper than Cyprus. But when you're doing things like that, and it just feels like every corner people are trying to rinse you for money, it just doesn't feel nice. Okay, what else have we got? Oliver is asking if there are any castles in Cyprus. Also, if they had any kings. Ooh. Oh no, now you're gonna. Oh, you put me on the spot now. Okay. Yes, there are castles, but not like Warwick Castle that you'd be expecting in the UK. So the most obvious one is Paphos Castle. And don't get me wrong, while it's cool, it's not. If you're used to castles in the UK, this would be like, a corner of it in a far distant area of the castle. It's tiny. Don't want to belittle it because it's quite cool to walk around. You can go up on the roof and stuff. But if you're used to castles in the UK, like Warwick Castle, Belvoir Castle, Hampton Court, if you're used to those types of castles and palaces, that's not here. So you've got Paphos Castle, And hi, Oliver, by the way, if you're still awake. But yeah, you've got Paphos Castle. There are, I'm going to type castle because I'm going to just do this up here now, right? So there will be some, and I thought that was going to come up. So I know you've got, I'm going to go to Larnaca first. I'm going to go over to the other side of the island and I'm going to annoy everybody because I'm going to use the wrong phrase and then everybody's going to jump down my throat again. But anyway, Larnaca Medieval Fort. So this was one that we went to. And that's actually quite cool. I recommend you go here if you get the opportunity to. So it's not exactly a castle, it's just a medieval fort, as the title would suggest. But it's quite cool. So you walk in this door. In fact, actually, let me just go to Street View a second. Because it's plonked right in. Well, I say it's plonked right in the middle of the road. To be fair to it, that was there before the road, so it's not its fault. I'm saying it's plonked in the middle of the road. It's not. It's this thing here. So if you ever drive down Larnaca, I love driving down Larnaca Seafront. I don't know why. It just feels very cosmopolitan. I like it. So you come down Larnaca Seafront, and then you get to this in the road here. You pay and you go in here, and that's where you get in. And then you can see it's not massive, it's quite small. And then you end up driving around it, and then you drive around here and you've got the side of it there and you can kind of go down here. You can come up onto, you can go up there, there's some stairs that go up the top and then we have to hook around to the left and then you can go up here. And then actually when you come down to this side, you can be up here in this little turret where the cannon is. And then you can be looking down the seafront this way as well. And that's, again, all very nice. And you can swim in the beach here as well. You can't, you can see some people there. You can get to the beach here and stuff. But they're not castles like you would expect in the UK. Now, the only other one I've been to, I've not been to any of these down here, and I'm not going to pretend I have, but the only other one I've been to is up here. And this is in Carnival. And if I click onto this one was probably, well, not probably, this was very impressive actually. So it's more what you'd be accustomed to thinking a castle would be like. And it's bigger than the castles that I was just showing you. In fact, you can see the area here. Now, what I liked about this, again, coming back to the lack of health and safety getting in the way. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand health and safety is there for a reason. But I just think in the UK, health and safety has got to the point where they assume people don't have common sense. Now, I'm not being funny. In a lot of cases, you kind of think, it would just be natural selection. If somebody's going to do something that stupid that you need to put a sign up, it's kind of natural selection in my mind, right? In the nicest possible way. So you come down to this castle and you're literally walking. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on this. Can I zoom in on this? You're going to let me? No, 1 second. It's a Google image. I can't really zoom in. Oh, I can zoom in. Okay. It's not letting me zoom in anymore. Can I do that? Yeah, I can do that. Use the Apple Zoom. It's low res, but you'll get the picture. So we walked, like you can walk along here. So you can climb, you walk around here, and you get up onto the roof of the castle here. And then me and my wife, we walked all the way down here. And if you wanted to, you could jump off there and you could kill yourself. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you were that way inclined, you were that stupid to fall off, then you could. You just get to go and experience it. Like, could you imagine going to Warwick Castle and being able to walk on the top of the castle? It would never happen. And so when you're here, you got a lot of freedom walking around. And then you get to go and see this, which is one of the oldest, I can't remember now, is one of the oldest boats. There's somebody that knows more about history and has got a better memory than I can tell you about this. But this was in a very low light room. No, they've got the lights on with the flash, or they put a flash on or whatever, but it's in a very low light room. And it was to preserve the wood. And this wood is like crazy old. And in here, I don't know if it's going to be on the pictures, but when you're walking around, you can, somebody's got a video. Kind of see that I'm covering part of it. But anyway, so let's just go here. Showing you parts of the shipwreck. You get to walk into quite a lot of the rooms. You just get to walk around freely, right? And you're just walking around freely, and there's stuff to read and that kind of thing. But you're walking around, and there's not really anybody telling you what you can and can't do as such. I'm trying to find a different picture because then in the exhibit they've got almonds in there that were something like 2,000 years old. So it's interesting. Anyway, well, I found it interesting. So you can go around these places, and that's the other one we've been to anyway. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I'd say this castle, this area, is really nice. We really liked it. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question, Oliver. That's probably bedtime for you now, isn't it? What are the questions have we got? We have, keep losing my spot. There we go. Lee. Evening, Lee. Evening, Lou. Good to have you guys back. Hi, Mark. We can't wait to get out and experience all of the festivals. They look really cool. Where do you find out what's on and where? Well, you will see some of the free Paphos papers that you get. So, for those of you that remember in the UK, back when you used to get these free magazines, and they might still have them. I mean, we just didn't really read them much in the UK, but you used to get these free leaflets, pamphlet type things. It was like a free brochure or like a catalog, or what do you call it? Like a, I don't know, like a let's just call it a free catalog. It's not a catalog. You get these free. What's the word? Cheers, Lee. Ruined my flow because I can't think of the word and I'm stupid. Like a advertisement. Basically, it's a funded. It's a free distribution letter, like a newsletter type thing, funded by the people paying to put adverts in them. So it's free. You can walk into Philippos, you get them put through your post box and stuff like that. We get them in our post boxes, the PO box, whenever we turn up. You always get this free Paphos Life type magazine. That's the word I was looking for, like a thin magazine. And you see lots of things in there, and there'll be things listed in there, and you can find out where they are, but that'll be specific to Paphos. So what you then end up doing is either jumping onto Facebook, looking at local groups, or just doing a search. Like some of the stuff I've told you about tonight, once you start to know the festivals, like I know there's a grape festival now. So if I want to go, I'll just type grape festivals and you look for the areas doing the grape festival that year. Christmas, not every village does the Christmas market every year, is my understanding. So then you'll have different villages doing different Christmas markets. And so you end up just kind of Googling it and looking for it when you know it happens. And then in other instances, you just stumble upon it. So we were in Agros last week and there's this Rose Festival on. We didn't know it was Rose Festival, didn't even know what one was. And you just stumble upon these things. Then you're like, it's a Rose Festival. and then, yeah, it's just nice. It's cool. It's quirky. So it's same with like markets and things. You can find out where the markets are on, the local markets, but then, quite often you'll just stumble onto stuff. But yeah, look for the little local magazines, the free magazines you get when you're going in and out of the supermarkets. So like from Tala, around here, you go to Philippos, you go to Alpha Mega, Skevlenitis, they all do the free distribution leaflets. Like I say, you used to get them in the UK. I don't know if you still do. But anyway, so that's probably the good place to find the local ones anyway, Lee. And then, yeah, use Google if you know something that you're interested in. If you're interested in a beer festival, you're interested in, my wife's amazing. She's brought me, but it's not. Hang on. Right, 1 second, guys. Asha. Sorry, 1 second. Asha, wait. Really? Oh, she's not got the others. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Okay, my wife's awesome. So here you go. We have, I haven't even read this, Pul's Cyprus Business Directory, 2026 edition. Yeah, look at this. We can read this together. So, Aphrodite's Water Park. Let me just move the mic a second. All right. The late morning show. What else we got? I'm advertising all these people now. Look, we've got Premier Value, Quality, and Choice. Why choose those Greek numbers? If you want to learn Greek, you can learn Greek numbers. We've got Tavernas, Party Mania. So anyway, you get the gist of it, right? You get these little pamphlets. Mario's MOT Centre. You've got all of these things. And so this looks like, there you go, public holidays. Saying about the public holidays. There better be 15 there now. Keep me factual. All the public holidays get listed and stuff like this. There you go. Right. So I'm just seeing now. I'm going to see if there's any events on. I'm interested myself. What we got? No. So that, well, I mean, it would make sense. Let's support local businesses. Get that. It's a business directory. So that one is basically a book of adverts. So you won't pay for that because it's supported by adverts. And then you got Paphos Post. So here's one free. Now, this isn't the thing I was thinking of. There's another magazine that you can get, but Paphos Post for free. So you've got a bit of news because it's a newspaper. And you've got some property developers, pets and stuff. I'm just seeing if there are letters to the editor. This is riveting. You guys have tuned in on a Saturday night to look at me read the newspaper. I don't know who that says more about. Paphos, there you go. Paphos Classic Vehicle Club. That was is that on or was that on recently? I think that was on recently. But anyway, there's a Paphos, there's classic vehicles that went down to, or that's going, no, that was on recently. Well, yeah, that's right. It's a couple of weeks ago now. But that was in Paphos Harbour. So that was on there. So you got, classic vehicle shows, UB40. If anybody wants to go to concerts, you get a lot of tribute acts out here, but then you also get some really cool live acts. So Ed Sheeran's been out. You had Jimmy Carr come out. Sting is coming out this year. That kind of thing. So that's really cool. Live at the Coliseum. They should have gladiator fights. That'd be. I'd pay to see a gladiator fight at the Coliseum. All these people that have to live by the health and safety rules, they should bring them out. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, Leah, hopefully that's answering your question. So I'm getting engrossed in the newspaper now. We should go to like and share screen while I read this. No, anyway, you get the gist of it, right? So hopefully that's helpful, Lee. And also word of mouth. You can ask people, you can ask us when you come out. If we hear of anything, like what you'll find is, again, like we've got a WhatsApp group for the beach. People will just be, hey, I'm going here. Do you want to join us? Hey, this is going on. Like my business partner this weekend, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, like maybe a day or two ago. So I'm going here on Sunday. It's like, oh, cool, we'll come. And it's just spur of the moment. And yeah, anyway, you get the gist. So hopefully that's helpful, Lee, anyway. And Lou, if it was Lou that asking or whoever was asking. Ted, message retracted. Veronica, do you need to show the value of the car even if you owe it for a few years? Probably not, but I don't know. I'm not an expert in this. If you clearly, I see what you're getting at here, because if you've owned it for a long time, you probably not kept the invoices. You probably haven't got the bank transfers if you did it with that. I would dare say no, but speak to Peter Morton. If you like, just whoever you're using to bring your car across, just speak to them and find out what they're going to need. But the long and short of it is, if you don't have it, you don't have proof of it, you won't have proof of it. What they will probably want is the value of the vehicle at the time of export. So in which case, what you could do is go on to say like Auto Trader and take screenshots of vehicles that are available around that price. Because if they try to say, well, no, this is a 50 grand car, but they're selling for 20 grand in the UK or whatever, then at least you've got comparables. You could probably have a look at, is it Parker's Guide, the Glacier Guide? Is that still a thing? I know, Farry and Monica, you guys aren't from the UK, but so there used to be like something called Parker's or Glacier's Guide, and it was like what auctions used to use for, there'd be a value of a car, and you could probably buy one of them if it's still a thing. You can get one of them before you leave, and it'll tell you the value of the car at the time you leave the country, and it'll give you like a poor condition, fair condition, good, excellent, whatever it might be. I don't know. Anybody in the UK, is the Parker's and Glacier's Guide, are they still a thing? But yeah, I can't really tell you anything more than that. So sorry, sorry, Monica. Oh, actually, on the castles thing, Oliver was asking if there's any kings. And I'm going to be honest, I'm bringing myself back to this point because I'm holding myself to account here. I don't know the answer. If Paphos, because you've got the Valley of the Kings, the Tomb of the Kings. But from what I understood, the Tomb of the Kings were politicians and not kings. But I'm going to check this now because somebody will pull me up on it. So Paphos, Tomb of the Kings. Were they kings? Yeah, let's go back to this. There we go. No, actual kings were never buried in Tomb of the Kings. There you go. That's ruined it for a lot of people, hasn't it? You thought you saw where the kings were buried, and they weren't. The massive underground necropolis gets its grand title solely from the sheer splendor, scale, and architectural elaboration of the tombs. Instead of royalty, the site was the final resting place for many prominent local aristocrats, wealthy nobles, and high-ranking. Can I read that? What's that say? Ptolemaioc? You don't come here for your education, do you? Anyway, officials. I heard it was politicians. It sounds like that could be a word for a politician. Anyway, Tomb of the Kings aren't really kings. But has Cyprus ever had any kings? Yes. Okay. Yes, there are. I'm not going to take up your time now and do the Google searches. There are kings on the island, or there were kings, Oliver. Get your mum and dad to Google it and tell you about it. I actually don't know. I didn't know. As you can see, you're watching me learn about this right now for the first time. So I just knew that two were kings. They weren't kings. But anyway, hopefully that was helpful with the castles and stuff. Also, hopefully that helped with the car as well. So we've got RC Cosplay. I'm here. Coffee. Oh, you're here in Cyprus. Yeah. Whereabouts in Cyprus are you? And welcome, by the way. Hopefully the weather's started getting better now, although it has. So I don't know if Johnny's on tonight, but the weather seems to have gone a bit rubbish. And every time Johnny comes, the weather seems to be rubbish. So I've kind of told her to leave the British weather at home. But it's been lovely today. I actually got caught the sun a bit. Premium 2477. Thank you, Mark. I will send you a message regarding getting this guy's details. Cool. Yeah, you're more than welcome to. Happy to help. That was the car guy, right? Monica, when do you cancel UK insurance? Once the car is in Cyprus or once it's on CY number plates? I believe you need CY insurance as soon as the car arrives on the island. Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. That is a great question. I can't remember the answer. I think I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I need to check this. And I keep saying I was doing this mini series, and then I keep getting busy, and I'm not being able to do the research that I want to be able to do for you guys in a way that is then accurate. So I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right information. But I'm pretty sure, like 90% sure, that we were advised when the car goes on the container and it leaves the country, you can cancel your UK insurance, because at that point you have to pay for this marine insurance. And then you're right, when it gets to Cyprus, before they will let you take it away, you have to have insurance. So you can get to Cyprus and that's fine, but before they let you drive it away, you have to prove you've got insurance and everything else before they release the goods and everything to you. So before your container will arrive, the car will arrive, you go down to customs, you show them all the stuff, the value of everything that's in the container, and you spend ages with this mountain of paperwork. And as part of that, you're showing them, okay, this is my Cypriot insurance and everything else. You don't need to worry about MOT. As long as you had an MOT from the UK, you don't need to worry about MOT, because you get your car MOT in the UK, but then it would last you technically for 2 years out here, even though it's a year in the UK. It's 2 years out here. But before they will let you register it on Cypriot plates, they will force you to get a Cypriot MOT. So there was a period of time where technically I didn't have an MOT because my British one had expired and I was still on English plates. So I hadn't had my car MOT'd for about 18 months. I mean, I still serviced it and everything, so I knew it was safe. But, there was a period of time we didn't have an MOT. But yeah, about 90% sure we were advised, cancel your insurance when the boat leaves, because it's not like it's not like Elephant Direct. We're going to do anything if my car fell in the sea at that point. They're not going to do anything then. So you've got the marine insurance for that, and then when it gets to Cyprus, then you're good. Hopefully that helps. Philip Shaw, hi Mark, good content again tonight. Very interesting. Can't wait till I move out to Cyprus. 88 days and counting. Love that. Appreciate the feedback as well. Thank you. Please keep the content coming, and thanks, Mark. No, thank you. I appreciate that, Philip. That's really cool. I'm glad you're finding it useful. Mihao, oh no, I never ride. I never ride in my bike. I never ride my bikes in t-shirts. No way. You are far too vulnerable. Also, I do not ride like an idiot. I love riding touristically, see things, and not just blurry background. Yeah, so I'm the same, but I just do it with a convertible and put the roof down. I like to drive around and potter around and you see everything. But yeah, I mean, it's safety first. I get that. But like I say, you will see the locals and none of them are wearing protective gear. And yeah, I mean, I get it in the summer. I wouldn't want to be, you don't want to be driving around in leather like a Power Ranger. You don't want to be doing that, do you? In the summer, it'd be too hot. Okay, what else we got? Premium 2477. My car was gifted to me by my dad, who bought it from new. I guess the best I can do is to get a signed letter from my dad to confirm it was gifted and get comparisons from the auto trader for value of proof. When was it gifted to you? I guess is the question. And worst case, I mean, you could just get your dad to write you a receipt. That if it is your dad and it's all within the family, you could get your dad to just write you a receipt with the value on it or something. Um, I don't know. Not sure, actually. I'm not sure on that one. If he gifted it to you like the day before you come, that's a bit sus. But the thing is, I guess the question is, actually, this is important. Is it registered in your name? Because that's what they will be interested in. Just because your family have owned it for however many months or years, that's irrelevant. If it's not been in your name for 6 months, you will still have a problem. You see this when people have leased a car in the UK. Like I used to lease a car through the business in the UK. And what would happen is, what you can do typically is you can lease your car, and then depending on how you've leased it, you can buy the car at the end, right? So I used to rent this plug-in hybrid, and I used to lease it through the business. And if I wanted to buy it, I sent it back about 2 weeks before we were due to leave, or 3 weeks before we were due to leave the country. But let's say I bought it at that point. Cypriot Customs wouldn't care that I'd driven it for the last 3 years prior. I'd only owned it, I would have only have owned it for that point of like 3 weeks. So it comes down to when it was in your name. So as long as your dad transferred it into your name and you've had it in your name for longer than the 6 months, you'll be fine. If you needed to just knock up some paperwork, I probably can't see that being a problem either if it's between you and your dad. But definitely get the comparisons between Auto Trader and stuff like that, But you're probably best off. I don't generally recommend lying with any of this sort of things. So if it's a gift from your dad, a signed bit of paper saying it was gifted is probably the best way forward. You've got the valuation, or you can get the valuation of the car at the time you export it. Like say from Auto Trader, take screenshots or whatever, print out some things. And like say Parker's or Glassier's guide is a thing. I know Parker's website is definitely a thing. So have a look on there as well, because you'll get a real feel for what a car's worth versus what the Cypriots think it's worth. Because the problem is when you're importing a car out here, and it's not so bad with transfer of residency, but if you're importing a car out here, from what I understand, you can bring a car in and you will say it's got one value, but if the Cypriot ports value it at something else, not a great deal you can do about it. So if you paid 30 grand for a car and they go, yeah, I think that's a 60 grand motor, what you can do, send it back. You end up paying the VAT, you end up paying the fees, so that's my understanding of how it works. I've never been stung by that, but I think it's just one of those things. But that'd be my advice anyway, is just do the comparables, get a signed letter off your dad to say it was gifted, make sure you've had it in your name for longer than 6 months, and best of luck. What else we got? Cliffy Karen, really good to see you're highlighting some of the local Cypriot festivals. They all look fantastic. They are really cool. They are really cool, Karen. I really like them. Oh, hang on a minute. That's just, wow, it's just jumped down. Wow, there's a lot of comments tonight. I mean, it's good. Let me just, I've lost where it is now. Chris, Paya is nice. It is nice. I like Paya. I just wouldn't want to live there. It's. And when I say I don't want to live in Paya, I would live in the Sea Caves. I would live in Cap St. George's. I just wouldn't necessarily want to live in the Paya village or the town. Like where I live now, my neighbours are Greek. They're like Greek Cypriots. I like that. I don't want to be surrounded by British people all the time. And that sounds, I don't know what it sounds like. I mean, I'm British, right? But I moved away from Britain. I wouldn't want to move away from Britain to be then surrounded and be living next to loads of British people. I like to see British people, but I wouldn't necessarily want to live by them anymore. That's just me, though. I mean, like I say, there's no right or wrong to it. Some people would take comfort in that. You go to Comaris and it's all British. Well, a lot of it's British expats. A lot of people take comfort in being surrounded by British people because people like what's familiar to them. So no right or wrong to it, and it's personal preference at the end of the day. And yeah, like I say, Paya is nice. It's got one of my favourite views, actually, just because people might think I'm bashing Paya. I'm not. Let me show you this, because it's got one of my favourite views on the island. VPN, right. Back in England. I'm going to come out of that. Don't need it anymore. Right, so you come down here. Come to Paya. Where are we? There. This road here that takes you up to Kataklysmos, up here. So this road here, as you come out of Picnic Forest and you come around this corner, you're probably not going to see it on Street View, but I love this view. This is one of my favourite views on the island. When you come down here, yeah, there you go. You can see part of it. So you've got Coral Bay, you've got Carolia Beach, you've got Potima, the strip there. That's where, if they ever build it, that's where the marina is going to be. But when you come around here on a really clear day, you can see for miles all the way down there. And then you come around this corner and it's just beautiful. And if you come down here at sunset, oh, love it. So, technically that's classed as Paya and I really like it. So, Yeah, Paya is nice. Karen, I've found when looking for rental properties, Paya is slightly cheaper than elsewhere. It may depend on what kind of property you're after. Yeah, it is slightly cheaper, and it depends where you're looking at, but it is slightly cheaper. Tala is slightly more expensive. Camaris is more expensive than Tala. Kisanegra, I think, is quite premium as well. It's quite expensive. But then, so come back to the map. So, like I was just saying earlier, I don't know how long people have been on, but so if you look at, say, Paya as a region, Paya and Coral Bay, they're going to be your two cheaper areas. Then you've got Sea Caves around here. That's going to be more at market, and Cap St. George's is more at market again. So is Paya cheaper than, say, those places? Yes. But then if you were to come down here and go to, say, Ember, well, Paya is going to be more expensive than Ember because Ember's not as nice as Paya. It's relative, right? It's relative. So Paya's cheap, yes, but in relation to what? Because it's also more expensive than other ones too. Good one. Hi, Mark. What areas in Paphos would you consider to be better than Paya and also have reasonable rental prices? Interested in your views. Thanks, Gary. Cool. I feel like you guys are trying to start a fight tonight. People are going to be like, Mark's bashing Paya. Right. Let's do a little bit of this. So, Gary, where would I recommend? Well, let's start with Paphos and zoom out for a start. In fact, let me just move the map over there so I'm not blocking it. Okay. First of all, it depends what you're interested in. So for me, I needed to be able to get to the international school. I needed to be able to get to Paphos because we've got a lot of things going on there. We also have things going on in Paya because my son's sports clubs happen in Paya. But I also wanted to be relatively close to the airport. And I say relatively, it's about half an hour away from where we are. So for me, it made sense to be around this area. And so then that brought into play places like Tala, places like Tsada, Armu, Konya, Gyroskopiou, Chloraka, Kisanegra, and Ember. So it brought into kind of play all of these. Now you can come down to here and go Timmy and Mandrio, and I'm going to come on to those in a minute. But because we were getting to this area here quite regularly, and a lot of what we do is in Paphos, and a lot of what we do is in Paya, I was like, well, we looked at Konya. Konya is very nice. We really like Konya. It's great access for the motorway because you can get to it in one of two ways. You get to it here, you can get to it here. And this motorway is the road that will take you all the way to Limassol and to Larnaca and everything else. You're going up to Nicosia, takes you all up there. So Konya is great for accessing this road, as is Gyroskopiou. Now, Gyroskopiou is nice for sure. And these areas can be quite expensive because it's close to Paphos as in the city, but it's far enough out to, not necessarily be, like in the center. It's not as touristy. But when you go here, I mean, prices can be quite expensive. Your views are going to be probably better in Konya than they are in Gyroskopiou, although, you can get nice views if you come higher up here, higher up the hills here. I know some people that live around here, and if you come higher up in the hills, you get nice views as well. But yeah, this is the more inland you come, it's higher. But these areas, absolutely fine. I'd live in either of those, really like them. I wouldn't want to live in Paphos. I wouldn't want to live in the city. And it's just mainly down to tourism. I don't want to be surrounded by tourists all the time. So I like Paphos. We visit there quite regularly, but I wouldn't want to live there. So it ruled that out for me. You've got Masogi. This is quite cool because this is Masogi Road. This is where you've got a lot of kind of industry. You've got a lot of shops and things like this down Masogi Road. Masogi is quite nice because just localities, like great place to get to the international school. It's like a 5-minute drive to get down here, as is Messahorio as well. So these are two nice areas, and depending on where you come, like Messahorio, got some amazing views, depending on where the side of the road you are and stuff like that. So these areas I quite like. Coming a little bit farther afield, Sada. I mean, it's nice. You can kind of see the views there. If I click onto it, you get some nice views, but there's not a lot going on in Sada. Now you get mountain views. This is the other thing. You do get mountain views out the back. And then if you've got sea-facing views, you do get some amazing views of the sea. I'm trying to find something that proves my point. There you go, like that. So you do get nice views of the sea up in Sada as well, depending on which way your property is facing. I liked Sada, but Sada, Olympus Village, there just doesn't seem to be much going on in either of these two places. So they're fine, they're nice. I would live in them, yes, because I don't mind driving to places. You know, I would actually, I quite liked Strumby. I quite like Palemi. There's nothing going on in these places really, but they're just little villages. And having been there, I quite like them. So yeah, they're okay. But again, probably too far out for most people because you're probably 30 minutes maybe into down to the harbour at that point. So I probably wouldn't recommend them for new people coming here. But not to say I wouldn't live there, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. So then where else? Well, you keep coming further north or northwest. So Ember, not really a fan of Ember. I can't really explain why. I can't explain why. That's a total lie. When I was looking in 2022 where we wanted to live at the time, and the old news articles don't seem to be a thing anymore. But Ember, if you typed Ember into Google News, there was no good news. It was all like riots. I say riots. That's going to make it sound really bad. It wasn't like it was just. I don't want to make this up, but I remember reading it, and there was things happening in the street, and again, it was to do with I think it was like migrants, and I don't know what it was. There was just seemed to be a lot of trouble in Ember for whatever reason. And then, even now, if you drive through, you can drive through at night time. Didn't really feel like somewhere I would want to live, and it feels like it's definitely changed because Hlaracus, this one. In fact, I'll show you some with Hlaracus in a minute. It just feels like it has changed over the years, but even now, driving through it, it just doesn't feel like somewhere I want to live. And it's really hard to put my finger on it. It just feels, again, you look at property prices, it's always cheaper than the surrounding areas. And you kind of have to ask yourself why. Tremithusa, by the way, this is quite cool. Quite like that. Again, that's relatively close to the school and everything else. So I quite like that. But coming down to Hlaracus, so again, this had a bad rep, and there's parts of it that got a bad rep. And the reason why it had a bad rep is actually for around here is a St. Nicholas residence. I think, oh, no, Nicholas. Someone, oh, come on. Right, hold up. Let's go back to Laraca. I'll just find it from the road. I know where it is from the road. Right, let's just go to map view. Come down here, this area here, right. So this here, pretty sure it's this one. Let me just pull the little street view guy. Oh, a minute. 1 second. I thought it was that one. I'm pretty sure it's that one. I'm sure it's that one. Let me show you this. There was a point I'm trying to show you. Oh, well. Where's it gone? Let's just go incognito window again. Let me go to St. Nicholas. It's a gated residential holiday complex, right? But let's go to news. Where's news? There. Riots, looting, evictions, flat owners, right? So you look at this. So this whole complex was, and let me just go back to the news. This whole complex was basically a slum, is the only way to explain it. It got took over by migrants, and people were basically squatting in people's holiday homes and everything else. And the whole complex got trashed. So you've got people that were coming to stay in their own holiday complex to find they've got squatters in there. And this was happening for a long time. Like this is back in 2022. This is before we even did our trial living. And so Larakas and this area, you were getting quite a lot of negative press regarding Larakas just because of this. Because of this particular area. And I'm sure it's that one I've just shown you on the map. But again, You look at this. Migrants in Cyprus fear fresh violence after a wave of racist far-right attacks. Migrants living in squalor in Caracas, riot police. And actually, if we just go to images, you get more of a feel for it. So I think this is what it used to look like back when it was, what people had bought into. That's what it ended up looking like by the time the migrants and the squatters had finished with it. Now, the thing is, asking about that, you go back to maps. So they're sorting it all out now. Oh, come on. Let me turn this VPN off. Caracas. So, anyway, Caracas, Cyprus. So when you come back to this was, I swear, it was this residence. Let me just go back to so that was, it's this here. I'm sure it's this. It doesn't seem to be labeled anymore. Sure, it's this. It looks like it because the pool's all green and empty there. So anyway, I think it's this, from what I remember. But anyway, so this here, at one point, this was just filled with squatters. And so when I was looking for somewhere to live, I was wanting to be a million miles away from this. Well, not a million miles away. That'd be silly because that'd be on the other side. That'd be it wouldn't even be on the planet. It would be somewhere else. But you know what I mean? I didn't want to be around this area because when they've finished squatting in here and making a mess here, or where are they going to go? They're going to be walking around the local areas because it's not like they all had cars. So they're hanging around this area. So I didn't want to be anywhere around that area. Now, this is why I said in one of my housing videos, wherever you're looking to move to, because it's changed now. That's that place. All the squatters I think have gone, and they are revamping that whole complex. But if you're looking at moving to somewhere, go to Google News, go to the Facebook groups, and just put the name in. Don't bias it with crime. Don't put Ember crime or Hloraka crime. Just put Hloraka Cyprus or Hloraka Poland, Paphos, and go and have a look and see what comes up in the news, because you start to get a better feel for the area. And at the time I was looking in 2022 with Ember and Hloraka, it was only bad news. It's not the same today. Like I say, those articles for Ember seem to have all gone. They seem to not be there anymore, and Hloraka doesn't seem to get as bad a reputation as it once did. But even so, people would say, don't stay over here because of the migrant place, but actually down here by the seafront or around here is fine. And it was. I know people that have lived around there and it's fine. So you've got the hotels and everything else. So, again, it's one of those where you go, come and try it, which is why I say, come and rent somewhere first. Don't just buy blindly. Don't just kind of, have a base and come and try it. Drive around different times of day and night. Like I say, Ember, you could drive through it in the daytime, looks nice. Drive through it at night, you get a different feel. I get a different feel, And so it's the same with any of these places. Kissonerga, that is more affluent, more expensive, and it's a bit different. That, in fact, here, this is where the Banana Festival was. If I just go back to this, so I was telling you about that. It was literally on this playground here. So you got the park. The video that I did was this area here. The banana monkey thing was in this bit here, and it was all here. So this is where your Banana Festival was. And this is a lovely little area. Really nice. Nice little coffee shop on the corner. This is where the bonfires were at Easter. So, again, it's all relatively close, but what you'll find is that you'll pay a lot more for a property here than you will here. And it's a stone's throw away. So then the last two, and I'll stop talking about property in a second. The last two areas that I was going to mention, because you mentioned around Paphos, you come this way. Mandria is quite a popular choice because it often ends up being lower price. And so Mandria is quite a popular choice. And again, there's a lot of expats here from what I see, from what I've read. And if I go to satellite images, so you've got this square that's been redone, and the square is lovely. I really like it here. I like eating here. I like just being here. It's all very modern. Well, not modern. It's just new. Modern's the wrong word. And it just feels very nice. Been to the restaurants, been to this restaurant, been to this restaurant, and I only ever seem to get good service. I only ever seem to get friendly people and never had any issues. Like, there's a little park, and I say a park, I mean, a park's been a bit too generous. There is a set of swings and I think a seesaw. And we've been eating here when we first moved. Me and my wife would be eating here, and my son would be over here playing on his own. You could almost see him from the table. We'd be over here on his own, playing with a load of other local people and just having fun. Again, like the safety aspect, we'd never let him do that in the UK, but he'd just be happy there playing. So Mandria, we liked. However, and I'm saying however, there's a few things I didn't like about it. And you come down here, this is classed as Mandria as well. And you see all of a sudden, it's like rows of houses. And it felt like, and I've driven around here, this felt like a bit of an estate. And what I mean by that is like an estate in the UK. So you come and it's just like feels quite built up. Now that in itself isn't a problem, but the thing for those of you that know me and have known me long enough, the thing I don't like is if I'm in my back garden, I don't like to see the back windows of other people in their back garden, right? Because I just like privacy. I like privacy for me. I like privacy for my kid, for my son. I like privacy for my son. And so I don't like it when you've got houses kind of backing onto each other. And unfortunately, the houses that were decent prices, you've got this scenario like here, you can see into each other's gardens. It's not a problem. If that doesn't bother you, you'll be fine. And, it's not like it's unsafe. I just like privacy in that sense, So some of these houses were coming up and, we saw somebody in the gardens here. We stopped. I literally was driving past. There was a lady sat in the garden and stopped, reversed back. And I was like, excuse me, we're thinking about moving to Mandria. What's it like? And she couldn't say anything bad about it. She loved it. She was like, yeah, we moved here. No regrets whatsoever. So Mandria, I think, is fine. It's definitely cheaper. And part of the reason why it's cheaper is you've got the airport right here. And so you're kind of in the flight path as well. So you're going to get more noise from the planes. I think that's one of the reasons why it's a bit cheaper. But also, if you put this into Facebook or you put it into the news, you will find that there seems to be a little bit more crime here than in other places, or it just seems to be more reported crime. Anyway, more residents talking about it. So again, I like to go there to visit. I always feel safe when I'm there. I've never felt unsafe there. But again, it's just what I'm reading online. And I think, and I could be wrong, and I might be doing a total disservice to people here, but you're quite close to Timmy here. You might go, why is that a problem, Mark? Well, because you've got the airport and everything here, you've got Mandria here, you've got this triangle of things going on. And in Timmy, you've got somewhere here. Zoom, where's it gone? I just saw it pop up. Timmy Refugee Estate. Now, I don't know much about it. I've never been here. And it looks just like anywhere else. But I can't help but think if that is where you've got a high population of refugees, so you've got a high population of people with not much money, you're going to have probably more opportunist crime in the area. Probably. And again, this isn't me trying to say that all refugees are criminals. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that when people have literally got nothing, you're going to get more opportunist theft, more than likely, than people that have got, jobs and stuff like that. So, like I said, I could be doing them a total disservice, but for me, I just didn't really want to be living around this area. My opinion. You might not have a problem with it. You might go, Mark, you're an ass. Maybe I am, but I'm just giving you my opinion. People ask my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. So hopefully that's helpful in kind of giving you the breakdown of the Paphos area anyway. You've got any more questions? Give me a shout. Hopefully that helps. Okay, what else have we got in the chat? Smart business from Chris. I can't remember, Chris, what we're talking about. I don't remember. Apologies, Chris. I actually don't know. Was it something in one of these, or was it something in that one, or was it something else? I actually can't remember. Apologies. You've made a comment to something, but I don't know what it was. So apologies. Nuts in May. Evening, Mark. Hope you're well. Cool. Thanks very much for joining. Hope Keith, Sarah, hope you guys are well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Ted, good info regarding payout. I don't mind an expat centered area. I really like it. It seemed well maintained, good roads until the village centre. Don't like the steep uphill roads. Yes. Well, something else to bear in mind with payout. And have a look for this on Facebook. Don't take my word for it. People will think I've got an agenda against payer. I don't. Have a look in Payer. They seem to get a lot of water cuts. And we know somebody that didn't have water for like 3 or 4 days because they get water cuts up there for whatever reason, And then you got other parts of the island where you don't really get water cuts. Like since we moved to Tala, I would probably say in the last 12 months since we've been in Tala, we've had it can't be more than 10. And you might go, bloody hell, 10 water cuts. It can't be more than 10. It's got to be less than 10. Excuse me. It's way less of an inconvenience here. I know that much. I can't think it's more than 10. Actually, you can keep me honest here in the comments. It can't be more than 10. When we lived in Potima, which was classed as Paya, we would probably lose water in the peak of summer. We were losing water 2-3 times a week, which is why I went and bought a water cooler, because I was fed up of waking up in the morning, trying to fill up my water bottle to go to the gym, and I had no water. I couldn't get fresh water, and you're not going to drink the container water off your roof. So something to bear in mind with Paya is that they do seem to get a lot of water cuts. Don't know why. And people might say, "Oh yeah, but Cyprus has a low water threshold anyway, and the dams, the reservoirs are emptying because of the heat." Yeah, that's true. But for some reason, our water was impacted more in Paya than it ever has been here. So just something to bear in mind with Paya. I think you've got a higher population of houses there. Maybe there's more people using the water there. Don't know. But we don't get hit anywhere near as much with water cuts here as we were over there. So just something to bear in mind. But like I say, don't take my word for it. Google it, see what people are saying online. You'll probably find stories of people on Facebook where they've not had water for several days. Ted again, checking out some real estate later this week near the village, lower end apartments. I am not a rich expat. That's cool. I mean, that's that. But the thing is, you don't need to be, Ted. It's unfortunately, it is the perception. And people go, okay, British people coming over here, they must have money, which to be fair, if you're working over here after Brexit, you have to have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of income to be able to afford to come over. So it's not an unjustified assumption. But I'm like you, we're not particularly wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. We're not wealthy. We're just like average people, But compared to local people earning a local wage, well, then yes, comparatively speaking, we will have more money than them. And you might be the same. You might not see yourself as, a high income earner or somebody that's wealthy, but you might find that people that you're living amongst, you are substantially better off than them. So there is a perception that expats have a lot more money. Whether it's true or not, it's almost irrelevant. Is that perception, right? Adam, hi Mark. We're looking to move to Cyprus in the next couple of years. I restore classic cars for a living. Considering setting up a business in Cyprus, given you're a petrol head, is there a big enough market? Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question, Adam. So there is, right, hang on a minute. I don't know how long you've been watching for, but there was I'm going to go to it now. There's a Cypriot Owners Club. You can watch me, a Cypriot Owners Club, a classic vehicle club. Right. So we have this here. Look, we've got Paphos Classic Vehicle Club. So there is definitely a market on the island for classic cars. There is a lot, I would say, you see a lot of garages out here. You see a lot of cars that are not maintained out here. And the cars that aren't maintained, they still seem to be on the roads. They're like literally hanging on by the last thread. You see a lot of cars broken down on the motorways and stuff like that. Cars just generally aren't maintained very well out here. So on the face of it, you would go, there's a market for the restoration of older cars. Because the one thing you do see out here, because of the old cars, you see some great old cars. Like today, we were in this car show today, right? And some of the classic Japanese cars. I don't know, like I know you're probably going, it's not classic. You're thinking like Triumph Spitfire or something, or maybe even older. But no, but for somebody that grew up in the 90s, yeah, I loved the Honda Civics, the VTIs. I liked the Nissan Skylines of the world. I love that sort of thing. The Nissan 300 ZXs. The Nissan 200s. I loved those type of cars. And in the UK, they just became like scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. Out here, they're quite common because people will import them from Japan. So you see lots of the old Japanese cars that you could probably restore and make good money off of. Because again, just because there's lots of Japanese cars out here, it's not like they're all gleaming and showroom condition. They're not. A lot of them are battered, but you get a lot of the rare Japanese cars. So you see like Integra Type Rs out here. You see Civic VTIs out here, and some of the Civic Type Rs, and you see like the old Honda Preludes, if you remember those. So you see stuff like that. Now I know they're not classic in terms of like 60s, 70s, 80s. These are like 90s cars, but you could probably come out here and do something like that with them. And I can't imagine there's that many people doing it. That said, something to bear in mind, the Cypriot market for anything, if you're selling anything local, the Cypriot market is going to be quite small. You've got to ask yourself, like, who are your customers? Oh, my camera needs plugging in. 1 second. Because I use my mobile as the webcam because it's going to give me it gives me the best, gives me a far better image than a standard webcam or anything else. Give me 1 second, guys. Plug that in, make sure we're stuck to run out of power. There we go. Back in business. Okay, so so the markets for site, if you're selling anything out here, the market's always going to be lower, but there is definitely going to be a market for boutique. If you've got classic cars on the island and there's not many places doing them, then you could absolutely be a boutique shop for it. But I'm not giving you very specific information here because I don't know is the long and short of it. I would look at it and go, who's your target customers? Like any of this, who are you selling to? And if you're selling to the locals don't really seem to care about cars. Not all of them, I'm generalizing, but when you look at the state of the cars, most people use a car to get from A to B. And you get the odd people that are really into their cars. But then the people that are really into their cars is going to be a niche of a niche. So you kind of got to find your market, and you might go, well, actually, maybe you're going to restore them for specific types of people, in which case maybe you could. But your best bet is going to be to literally do a whole bunch of market research yourself. I mean, would I set one up? I don't know is the answer. I can't advise you on it because I think where there would be a market, and this isn't restoration, I am desperately trying to find, and I cannot find one, but I am desperately trying to find a way of being able to bring in cars that are more than 5 years old. And there doesn't seem to be any loophole. And the reason for that is because, well, not the reason for the no loophole. The reason I want to bring in an older car is because you can't get the older cars here now. So you see all of these old Japanese cars that were brought in, because they're all right-hand drive. So lots of people brought these Japanese cars in, and they're all looking really tired. But you see loads of them, like unlike the UK, because people out here, they'll keep the cars running forever or try to. So on that basis, maybe you could do not just classic car restoration, but classic car servicing, classic car maintenance. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm a petrol head. Yes, I love driving cars. I've never gone into business in cars, but I think if you can figure out a way of importing older cars, if actually, here's something for you, because if you import a car that is more than 30 years old, that gets classic status. You can import a car that's more than 30 years old. So that'll take you back into 1996. So I've got to give it about another 10 years after that, and I can import my XKR. Anyway, that's a lot of talking. I don't really think I've given you an answer, but hopefully it's given you something to think about anyway. So yeah, good luck with that, Adam. If you do set it up out here, let me know, because swing by your shop. Adam, by the way, we love your live streams. Keep up the good work. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I appreciate the feedback. So I'm glad people get some use out of them. So that's cool. Premium 2477. He gifted the car to my and date on the V5 will be 8 months before relocation date. No holidays. Hope I don't have issues. Yeah, I mean, that should be okay. It's really weird, right, actually? So if you were gifted it 8 months ago and you've not been out of the country and it's been insured, you've got proof of insurance for the last 8 months in your name, you're probably going to be fine. But somebody told me here, somebody who was it told me? Can't remember who told me. Somebody told me they say 6 months is minimum, but they like 12 months. Well, mine was 11 months by the time we moved out, but they say 6 months minimum, but they like it to be 12 months. And I'm going, yes, but what's the law? Well, the law is 6 months. So 8 months, you should be fine. But yeah, I think they just don't want people taking a mick and buying a car right before they leave. So they're saying it's 6 month minimum. And they'll try and get you any way they can. But if it sounds like 8 months, you'll be fine, because if you've not been out of the country, you can prove your insurance in that time. I reckon you'll be fine. Okay, Philip Prowlins. Hi, Mark. It's only my second time of listening to you live. Glad to come across you. We're looking to emigrate to Cyprus or France in a couple of years. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for joining and thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're finding this useful. Out of interest, what are you thinking about for France? Why France over Cyprus? What are you thinking about France will have that Cyprus doesn't? Be interested to hear that. Ah, we've got Kevin, silent P in Tolmic, Mark. Thanks. I've been schooled. Thanks, Keith. Or is it Sarah? Whoever schooled me, Keith or Sarah. Thank you. Cool. Right. Look, there's no more questions in. So while we're waiting for Philip, if you could tell me why you think in France. I'm interested. Actually, I'm intrigued. And where do you live right now? Presumably you're in the UK, right? While we're waiting for questions to come in, I'm going to go to my like and share screen. I'm just going to say, look, guys, if you are finding this useful, informative, or entertaining in any way, then please give it a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because I think there's about 50% of the people who do watch this channel aren't subscribed. So if you do subscribe, then you're going to get notified when I do go live, because I'm trying to do a few more sporadic lives from time to time. I haven't done many yet because I keep being let down by tech, and for some reason CETA and YouTube don't play nicely together when you're walking around, or at least it doesn't seem to, but I'm trying to figure that out, and when I can, I'm going to do more lives. But yeah, also, if you see anybody online, I appreciate people that have been doing it for me as well. But for anybody that has seen any questions online, if you think somebody can get benefit from any of the content that I'm putting out there, then please give it a share, and hopefully they can benefit from it too. So I'm just trying to help as many people as possible, because fundamentally, when we were looking to move to Cyprus 2-3 years ago, this type of content didn't really exist. And so I'm trying to document it now for everybody else. And with that said, I'm going to come back to the camera. And while I'm waiting, there's no more questions coming through. 22 of you still online. That's cool. I'll see if any questions want to come through, because I know there is a bit of lag between this and the actual questions. So just while we're waiting, I will just say, Martin and Sandra, if you're watching this, I know you're in Cyprus still at the moment. You've been here. I think you go home on Wednesday. But Martin, it is your birthday today, right? So happy birthday. I hope you guys have had an awesome day. And I was hoping you'd be on the live stream. I was going to wish you happy birthday in person, but I don't think you are tonight. Clearly you're out celebrating, so hope you're having a good time. And yeah, good to meet you and Sandra earlier in the week as well, or last week. So yeah, good to meet you both several times. I met you 3 times. That's cool. And safe travels back to the UK on Wednesday. Cool. So what we got? We've got Philip. So in France, you get more for your money regarding property. I'm from Wales. Cool. Yes, you do probably. And the reason why I say you do probably is because we know people that moved to France, and for not a huge amount of money, they ended up buying a huge amount of property and got farmhouses and stuff like that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. What I would say, Philip, is depending on your circumstances, there are several reasons why Cyprus was the place for us. And again, it depends on where you are in life and what you're looking to achieve. But for us, one of the reasons why a few of the reasons why we chose Cyprus was we wanted to live in the heat and visit the cold. We wanted somewhere that was going to be safe. Now, I don't know what France is like, but if the news is to be believed, Europe, Germany, places like that, it's all kind of going downhill. It's quite, can be quite bad. I know the UK is going that way. So I don't know what France is like with regards to crime and everything else. Then you've got tax. And I'm talking about, let's say, income tax for a start. So if you're working a job out here, you can earn, I think, something like 22,000 euros now, tax-free. And if you come out here and start a business, you will pay 15% corporation tax, unless you've got a business where you can own the IP, the intellectual property within that business, in which case there are options to bring your corporation tax down to about 2%. And then when you're paying yourself, you've got your 22 grand tax free. But when you're paying yourself in dividends, if you pay yourself in dividends, then as a non-dom resident, you will get it tax free for the first 17 years. The Cypriot government have just changed that this year, in that it was for the first 17 years, you would get it 0%, and then it would revert back to whatever the old rate used to be, like 19% or something. But they've just changed it this year so that dividends are now capped at 5% anyway, is what I've seen. So even after the 17 years of being tax-free, then you're going to pay 5%. Obviously, that could change in 17 years. But right now, if you're taking dividends, then it's tax-free. If you are succession planning, if you're raising a family, if you're looking at leaving wealth to your children, things like that, there's no inheritance tax out here, not in the same way you got in the UK. So in the UK, they'll literally, again, they rinse you for everything. They tax you at every stage of life. They tax you when you earn it, they tax you when you save it, they tax you when you grow it, they tax you when you die. Every stage of life is just tax, 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 tax. And so out here, if you're leaving the UK, again, depending on your age and everything else, now the UK have just changed the inheritance tax laws so that it used to be, I think it was 3 years. I think it was 3 years. If you'd left the UK for more than 3 years, you're outside of the scope of HMRC for inheritance tax. And I think it was last year, April 2025, last year, I think it was, they moved the goalposts and they moved it to be 10 years. So hypothetically, let's say last year, you'd been out in Cyprus for 4 years. You were then clear of inheritance tax. You were like, yep, cool, I'm clear. Don't need to pay inheritance tax in the UK if I was to die in Cyprus. Because the UK now moved the goalposts, if you're in your 4th year, it now brings you back into scope for inheritance tax. Because unfortunately, it seems like the only way the UK know how to generate an income for the country and to grow the economy is just to tax the hell out of people. So they've increased the tax window. So as long as you live for more than 10 years after leaving the UK, then you are going to be able to get out of paying that inheritance tax, or your kids will get out of paying that inheritance tax. Sorry. So again, if you've got property that you're going to leave to your kids and everything else, if they're out here, well, then it's going to be better planning for them. I don't know what France is like in that regard. So just some things that we thought about, like I say, in summary, the weather, the safety, the tax, the climate, the easy integration with English as well. So pretty much most people speak English out here. Integration is really easy because we drive on the same side of the road as the UK. It just is easier to integrate out here than you'd probably have to learn France. And if you're living in one of these farmhouses in France, then you're probably going to want to learn the language because there's no guarantee that the local French villagers are going to learn or going to know English. So it's going to rely on you to know French, things like that. So just some things to bear in mind anyway. Karen, Mark, an off-topic question. Can you tell me how you access Sky TV in Cyprus? Is it fairly straightforward as hubby likes his sport and he's hoping we can get it in Cyprus? Ooh, okay, right. So it's not off topic because, all right, it's off the main topic, but the whole point of these live sessions for you and for anybody else watching it is it's ask me anything. There's nothing is off the table. And if I can't answer it, I'll tell you. But a lot of it's based on my opinion. A lot of it's based on my experience. And if I don't have the experience, then I can't tell you what it is. But nothing's off the table. It's the whole point of this session. I'll give you a bit of content on a particular theme, and then you guys can ask me whatever you want. So the question on the table is, how do you access Sky TV while living in Cyprus? Well, first of all, I don't access Sky TV in Cyprus, and I only yesterday decided I was going to access the iPlayer because I'll be honest, I haven't watched anything on the BBC since about 2015. And for the petrol heads amongst you, you'll know why that is, and that's because that's when Top Gear ended, or at least that's when the Clarkson genre of Top Gear ended. So I haven't watched Top Gear since then. Didn't watch anything on the BBC really. Didn't listen to the radio, like nothing. So I put it on yesterday for the Eurovision. That was it. Sky TV. What I would say to your hubby is, have a look. I think Sky TV do like Sky Go or something like that in the UK. You could probably access that out here where it's using the internet. But I know for a fact, in fact, will I get done for slander? I mean, it's not slander because it actually happened, but I can't prove it happened. I will just say this. I'm not going to name names because somebody will probably try and pull me up for it. In Paya, there is an internet shop, and I'm not going to say which one it was, but it wasn't the one that was on camera earlier, actually. But in Paya, there is an internet shop, and I was in that internet shop, and I was looking for internet options. And while in this internet shop, there was a guy there selling these Fire Sticks that are cracked. And I think it's like €100 or something, and it gave you access to hundreds of channels, sports, movies, everything. And it was these cracked Fire Sticks, and they were very open about it. You literally could walk in. It's like, oh yeah, this guy can sell you one. It's like, this and this, and you register it and you pay like €100 for the year or something. So anyway, there are ways and there are people that sell these dodgy sticks out here, and you can do it. I don't actually watch TV. That might come as a bit of a shock to people. So I don't have Ceta Vision. We don't have an aerial hooked up to our telly. I don't watch telly. Like if we're watching something, we'll be watching Netflix. We'll watch a movie on Netflix. But otherwise, I don't watch TV. I don't have time to watch TV. And you might go, well, that's ironic, Mark, because you're spending 2-3 hours a week talking to you guys. Yeah, but I'm enjoying this. My son's in bed. My wife, well, she used to be in bed, but now she stays up and supports me on the other end, brings in newspapers and stuff. But I'm doing this because I enjoy it. We don't just sit and watch telly. We never have done. And it's not to say that it's a bad thing. I just don't have that luxury and that time in my life to be able to do that. And then when I do have the time, I'll go out to some of these festivals like we've done today, and I'll go places and we'll do things. So my advice would be on this: have a look at something like Sky Go and have a look on the Facebook groups, because there will be people selling. If you say, oh, this is going you can buy access to it out here from these Fire Sticks or whatever, and there'll be people selling it, and there'll be people that are open to it. But you just have to bear in mind that it is technically illegal. It's all against the law. It's pirating. So I'm not condoning it in any way, but the point is you can do it and you can access it out here quite easily and quite cheaply. If you wanted to access something like Sky Go, and I think Sky Go is a thing, then you may need a VPN. So for those of you that don't know, a VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And for those of you that don't know what that means, I appreciate the long name has not helped anybody understand what the short name is, and you still don't know what a VPN is. Put simply, it allows you to hide your network traffic, and it allows you to present yourself as though you are in another country. So when I was watching Eurovision yesterday, I told it that I was in the UK, and then the BBC iPlayer goes, "Oh, he's in the UK," and it lets me play UK stuff. I use a VPN for several reasons. Because it's private. It's a private connection between me and whatever it is I'm connecting to. I have it for business. So if I go if I go to a hotel, or I connect onto a public Wi-Fi around here or anything like that, they can't see any of the data that I'm sending. They can't see what I'm connected. They can see what I'm connected to, but they can't see the data that's being sent. So it keeps my work stuff very secure. Also, on the TV front, if you're into things like Netflix, if you watch movies and things like that, we watch movies, we watch some TV shows from time to time, like as a family, we'll do it. I don't just sit and watch it on my own. So we'll do it as a family if we're going to watch a bit of TV or something. And what you can do with your VPN is you can say, now show me as though I'm in America. And then you get movies or TV shows that are only in America that you don't get here. You can present anyway, but so show me as though I'm in Canada or France or Australia, wherever. And you get different movies and different TV shows depending on where you tell it you're from, because it thinks you're from that area. And certain programs aren't licensed in certain areas. With your VPN, you can get around it. So have a look at the British online web services. If Sky Go is a thing that you can pay into, it'll probably want you to be in the UK. So you might need to register it to another address, friend's address, whatever. But then connect to it with a VPN and just see, have a search for it online. See if people are connecting to Sky Go on VPNs and see if that's the thing. I'll have a look on Facebook. I can't give you first-hand experience because, like I say, we don't watch live TV as such. But have a look at that and see if that helps. Right, let's go. I am okay. Phil. So I am 65 years old, did a stint in the army. My career cut short, medically discharged, or medical discharge. So I only have a small army pension plus small civil work pension. Okay. So that might make Cyprus prohibitive anyway, because post Brexit, unless you've got European connections, unless you've got an EU passport or you can apply for one in any way. So I know there's people that apply for them in Ireland. I know if you ever watch, excuse me, if you ever watch Brian from Path to Paphos, which if you don't, I recommend it. He's a nice guy and a good channel. If you ever watch Brian from Path to Paphos, he applied for an Irish passport through grandparents, and I'm doing the same thing actually. I'm not Irish, but I've got Polish grandparents, and I'm going through that process. Now, even though I don't need to, because my wife's an EU citizen, she's a Polish citizen, but she's an EU citizen. I had the luxury of being able to come through and ride off the back of her citizenship. So I'm effectively on a yellow slip instead of a pink slip. So a lot of the hassle that I would have had from Brexit has gone away. You may or may not have that. I don't know. It depends on your circumstances. But yeah, you might find then that France is more favourable because maybe the income requirements aren't as high. But it's definitely something to look into if you are trying to come to Cyprus, because it can be quite tricky to get here now post Brexit. It's not impossible. It's just more tricky. Uh, what we got? I'm mortgage free. Shall be putting my house up for sale here in Wales at the end of December 27. So end of next year. Cool. Okay. Let me ask you a question. And I mean this with love and with the greatest respect. And interestingly, when people say, with all due respect, they then go into a situation where they then disrespect the person. But I'm not doing that here. What I'm trying to say is, so you said you're 65. Are you retired? Did you say you're retired? Am I making that up? No, you didn't say you're retired, but you said you're 65. You were medically discharged. Okay. And you've got a civil pension. So I'm assuming you're retired, but that might not be the case. Why are you waiting until December 2027 to then put your house on the market? If you know you want to move abroad, December 27, you're another 18 months down the line. And a lot can change in 18 months. When we were looking to come to Cyprus, and I know you said that, there's a few people that are new to this channel, not everybody's seen me. I have talked quite a bit now about how we moved to Cyprus and the process we took. And in 2022, we did trial living. And I won't bore you with all the detail now. You can go back and watch the video, or we can talk to you about it offline or whatever. But in a nutshell, we had a 2-year plan to move. And based on things that had happened at that time, we brought that plan forward, and I accelerated it by 12 months. So within approximately a year of making the decision, we moved to Cyprus and we accelerated it because we kind of got to the point where we're going, why are we waiting 2 years for something that fundamentally feels this good? If it feels this good now, why would we wait? And for me personally, unfortunately, I've had a lot of people pass away in my life. And so, the silver lining is I don't really have any ties in the UK that was keeping me back. Like, a lot of people won't move abroad because of family and this and that. I don't have that, right? But we were looking at it going, if it feels this good, why would we not move? Like, literally, you could die tomorrow. I could die tomorrow, right? Probability says you won't, but you could. And tomorrow's not promised to anybody. And I think, this is one of those things. And I was talking to somebody recently, I won't name names, but, that they watch this. I was talking to them recently. And the one thing they wish they'd done is they wish they'd done it 10 years sooner. They're now looking to move out. We met up and they're looking to move out. And they wish they did it 10 years sooner. And I said in one of my previous videos, when I was moving out to Cyprus, people were scared for us. People were saying, what if it didn't work out? What if you don't like it? What if? They were putting all this fear into your head, into our heads, not because they were jealous, not because they wanted to try and disrupt anything. It's because people back home, they love you. People back home, they care about you. And fundamentally, they are scared and they're kind of imposing their fears on you. Now, I said they're asking the wrong question. And I said, really, you should turn the question around. What if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it's the best decision you've ever made? What if moving abroad changes your life to a point where you wish you'd done it sooner? I didn't want to get to the point where I was 50 years old and life gets in the way. And you look back at life and you go, oh, I'm 50. My son would be a little bit older then. He'd be probably, what is he now? He's 8, just about to turn 9. So he'd be 15, 16 years old. It'd be really hard to move if I waited until I was 50. And so I didn't want to get to that point in my life where I go, remember that time we nearly moved to Cyprus and then didn't? I'd much rather be the guy that moved to Cyprus, tried it, didn't like it, moved back. Because if you did that, you've tried it and you've removed that what if. But for us, it's been the best decision we've ever made. We love it out here. I absolutely love it out here. So I'm just challenging you to think about, if there is something that you're hanging your hat on to go, I'm going to put my house on the market December 2027. Why not tomorrow? You probably go, oh, can't do it tomorrow. There's 100 reasons why. Cool. Why not tomorrow? Be really honest with yourself. There probably are things that, logistically means you can't move straight away, but why wait? Seriously, why wait? What are you waiting for? You don't have to answer me tonight. It's a question for you to take away, but what are you waiting for? Why wait 18 months? If you know you want to move abroad, do it. Seriously, just do it. You can always move back. You can always move back. P.S. I shall be pension age. Okay, sorry, I've offended you now. I've said you're old. I thought, okay, you shall be pension age. That could be to do with why you want to wait, but even so. Mike, SkyGo works fine in Cyprus with a VPN, but needs a subscription in the UK. IPTV is also an option. Okay, cool. So there you go. So, Mike, thanks for that. Appreciate you putting that in the chat. So, Philip, hopefully, if you've got somebody that you can register it to, you've got friends or something, you can just register it to their address. Maybe you can do that. We have some things registered to our friends' addresses in the UK for certain things, and maybe you can do that. Maybe you've got family you can register it to. But yeah, sounds like you can watch Sky Go here. So maybe that gets you around the sport. Then gets you around watching live TV if you can do that on a VPN. Thanks, Mike. So Philip, I'm a Welshman who would be looking into the pink slip. Okay, cool. So you're saying your small work pension matures, and I serve my country, and for what? The UK is on its knees. Well, I mean, yeah, look, we voted with our feet too, right? In terms of your personal circumstances, in terms of like the pension, everything else, I mean, yeah, you know where you are financially, and clearly you've got to have the means to be able to move abroad, but just make sure that you're holding off for the right reason, because yes, your work pension matures, but you've got 18 months to do something else. Look at how you can accelerate it. Why, how can you accelerate it? Ask a different question, not I have to wait 18 months because of this. Go, cool. What would need to be true for you to move, and how can you make that happen sooner? And it's just a challenge I'll put out there, because people often will put things in the way as a blocker, and sometimes they legitimately are a blocker. But it's one of those where you go, if you absolutely needed to do something, if you needed to raise money, because let's say, I had a mentor tell me this years ago. If I said to you, or I said to anybody on the call, you have to raise 100 grand. A lot of people don't even earn 100 grand in a year. How am I going to raise 100 grand? Don't know. But if turned around and said, you have to raise 100 grand or one of your children's going to die, and you have to do it by X amount of time, you've got to do it by the end of the month. You would figure out a way. You would literally not sleep. You would be doing and working around the clock. You'd be figuring out a way, whether it's loans, whether it's borrowing, whatever it might be, you will figure out a solution to that problem. And so if you're just accepting the fact, you go, you know what, I'm going to move at the end of next year because that's when this thing happens. Cool. But is there any, I'm not saying there is, but ask yourself the question, what can you do to accelerate it? If you want to move out, if you're fed up with the country because it's on its knees, I agree. We were the same. We moved because of that, and we figured we could always move back. You could move out here, try it for a year, decide you don't like it and move back. And then you've done that inside of the time frame you're looking to wait. And, you said you were medically discharged. Again, I'm not going to pry into your life, but, I don't know what that was, but could that get worse? I don't know. If it could get worse, maybe time is of the essence. Maybe you definitely want to try this stuff soon. So you go, right, how can you do it? What can you do different? I don't know. I'm not saying there is a way. I'm just saying, challenging you to try and speed it up, because I know what it's like to be there. And when we were looking at doing a 2-year plan, we were quite risk averse. And for us, I didn't want to go back to the UK and then have to wait 2 years, because I just feel like my life was on hold because I'm waiting for this inevitable future date for when we move. And people watching this now, you guys that have got moving dates in the diary, it's amazing, but it's also, you kind of like, come on. You want to just get there quicker. You want to get on with your new life. And so if you've made the decision now that in 18 months time, you're either going to be in France or you're either going to be in Cyprus, well, you've made the decision, so what can you do to speed it up? It's just my challenge to you anyway. So I'm not saying you can do it. It's just my way of thinking. It's not my way of thinking, isn't for everybody, but that's my way of thinking anyway. So cool. So there's 21 people online. We are at 25 to midnight. I'm still going quite strong actually, but I won't keep people on if people haven't got anything to ask. So I'm going to go to the like and share screen one last time. And I will answer more questions. If people have got more questions, they've still got a bit of energy left. If people have got more questions and they want anything answering, I will answer what I can while I'm on the chat. Otherwise, I will leave it there and I will let you all go and have a good week. But if there is anything you'll know, put it in the chat now. And I will just pimp myself out one last time. If you're liking this, please give it a like, because I think YouTube likes it when you give it a like. And I like it when you give it a like as well, because it seems to reach more people. And so, again, give it a like, give it a subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I do just ask if you see people putting any questions on Facebook or anything like that, you think my content can help them, just give it a share. You know, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm not getting anything financial out of it, but I do like to try and help people. So if it helps people, the more people I can help, the better it is. Because as I've said so many times now, this type of content didn't really exist when I was looking to move out to Cyprus. And so I am just trying to document it now for the rest of us. So yes, I'm going to come back to the chat. There's one more. So we've got a couple of messages in there now, and then we'll see what we'll get to. So Karen, totally agree, Mark, with your viewpoint about seizing the moment. I'm just awaiting my Irish citizenship to come through this summer, coming over in November to view property. Awesome. I mean, that's awesome, Karen. And that's really cool. So, you know, fingers crossed that all goes through. Philip, I have a disability. I probably will take all night. 4 failed back operations, deafness in my right ear. Wow. Oh, sorry to hear that, Philip. That's sounds like you've got a lot going on. I'm moving out to Cyprus this year on a small US pension, as my UK pension doesn't allow me to take early retirement. Take the plunge. That's what I gave a like. Thanks, RC Cosplay. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. That's so take the plunge. That's what I'm doing. Cool. And Philip, that's awesome. And like I say, you know your circumstances, right? If 18 months is the earliest you can do it, then cool. What I don't like to see, and that's why I challenge people on this now, and like I say, doing it with love, doing it, with the greatest of respect, because you get 2 types of people in this world. And you find this when you move out here, actually. You get the type of people, and you'll figure this out as well when you come, people that are back home in the UK, they'll always go, I'd really love to move abroad, Mark. Okay, cool. What's stopping you? And they've got a list of excuses, like a mile long, why they couldn't possibly move abroad. And then you've got the other type of people like you and I, people watching this, people like you and I, who will get rid of those excuses. They will work around those excuses. They will figure out a way to go and get what they want. Now, Simon Sinek says this. He talks about the reason why. And if you've ever read his book, Start With Why, this is kind of what he talks about. He says, when the why is strong enough, the how will take care of itself. Because fundamentally, if you want something bad enough, you will figure out a way of getting it. And the same can be true for people that enjoy comfort. I've talked about expanding your comfort zone, in a previous video, but people will live within their comfort zone and they don't like to be uncomfortable. They don't like change. And so inevitably, they're going to keep living the life they've always lived. So people, when you come out here, there'll be people that are envious of you. There'll be people that will be like, I wish I could do that. And there'll be people that are going, it's all right for you. But they're choices I've made. People can make the same choices. And yes, everybody has individual, unique circumstances. But fundamentally, I dare say that people that are saying it's all right for you, people that are saying that, I wish I could do that, but I couldn't, they are not the only people in their circumstances. And there are people that have done a lot more that are in the same circumstances and even in worse circumstances. So when people say, I'm going to move abroad, but it's going to be like 2 years, there are people that have said I'm going to move in 2 years, that's cool. And I have a lot of respect for people that want to move. I was going to move in 2 years and then we sped it up because I felt what it was actually like to be out here. So that's why I challenge people, 2 years, awesome. You've got a plan. That's more than most people have. Most people don't have a plan. So if you're going to move in 2 years, that's freaking awesome. Fair play to you. And the next question is, how do you speed it up? 2 years is a great plan, but you might not be here in 2 years. So how do you speed it up? It's the challenge I give. And if you can't, you can't. That's fine. But challenge yourself to. Sometimes you can't change things, but that's fine. At least you've tried. Theo fan, I always, hello, evening. I've not seen you for a little while. I always butcher your name. I apologize. We're flying over on Wednesday for 2 weeks. Found a place in Laraka without a pool for kids. One of the kids turns 4 when we are there. Any ideas for a fun day for a 4-year-old girl zoo? Well, because you've mentioned the zoo, let me show you something. I wasn't going to do this tonight, but let me show you this. Paphos Zoo is really cool. There's a lot of birds there, which inherently is a bit annoying because I feel like unless you're a bird watcher, once you've seen a few birds, they're kind of this. They're not the same. You've got big parrots, you've got birds of prey, stuff like that. But It feels like there's a lot of birds in Paphos Zoo. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I'm trying to just pull up some photos. But what you've also got in Paphos Zoo, let me go to photos, is again, come back to the health and safety aspect of what you don't really get in the UK. Come on. Sorry, I'm just trying to get photos. Right, what you don't really get in the UK is interaction with animals. You can go to farms and stuff like that. But if I just go here, type in zoo, let's just see what comes up. I'm keeping it private for a second because I don't know what's going to come up in terms of photos. And I'm selective on what I'll share if my son's in them and stuff like that. But I'm looking for a specific. Okay, so here's a couple of things. So let's just show you this. So this here is Paphos Zoo. And if your 4-year-old likes animals and stuff like that, you can actually pay about €50 and you can go and feed the elephants. You can like interact with the elephants. The zookeeper will take you around. You can go and stroke the elephants and stuff like that. So that's one of the things you can do. Oh, zoomed in there. You can go and see the elephants. You've then got, and this is what I'm just looking for. I'm looking for a picture of me on it. Let me just, that's my nephew. So I don't want to put people on that don't necessarily want to be on. Let me type the word lemur. I tell you what, I'm struggling with this, and I don't want to waste everybody's time. I'm conscious of people's time. So let me go Paphos. Let me just bring this up this way. I'll do it this way. Right. So what you can do is you can pay €5 and you can go and do this. I don't know who this person is, but a photo's on the internet, so I don't mind showing it. It's fine. I have no idea who you are. You pay €5, you get a little cup of lettuce, and the lemurs just come and jump all over you. And it is freaking awesome. Like that was the highlight of my day at the zoo. And these lemurs, they are so gentle, ridiculously gentle. Like their hands when they're climbing on you, they're climbing on your head, and they are beautiful animals, and you can kind of stroke them. And they tell you don't hug them because if they feel like they're being squashed, they'll bite you, stuff like that. And we took some friends there a couple of years ago, and one of the lemurs pooed down the daughter's t-shirt, and then she got upset. But fundamentally, you don't get to interact with the animals in England like you do here. And so you can go to the zoo, you can go to, and they'll just sit. So here, like sitting on there, and if they see you got lettuce, like they jump on you because they want to eat the lettuce, and you can put your hand out and they'll kind of run up your arm, and it's so freaking cool. And then the other thing you used to be able to do, and I don't know if they've come back yet. Let me just, so basically they had giraffes, and you might go, well, that's great, Mark. I've seen a giraffe. You have probably, but my son I got to feed the giraffes as well. I paid like €10. Let me just show you this. If I can find. I've typed in giraffe. It's got my son sticking his tongue out. Apparently, he looks like a giraffe. Let me just see if I can find this because this was really cool. But the thing is, the giraffes died. Which, I'm laughing. The giraffes died. Is really sad. And then they were supposed to be getting 2 new ones. And they've been on a ferry. And they were supposed to come. We didn't go to the zoo last year. The year before, they were supposed to come like Christmas of 2024. And I don't know if they ever turned up. But anyway, right. I'm wasting people's time looking on Google. So the zoo is really cool. And yes, I like it. Like I said, there's quite a few birds, which, is a little bit tiresome right at the start. Or not at the start, towards the end. But you've got lions there. There was lion cubs there. You've got tigers and tiger cubs. But the lions, hearing them roar, I've got to show you this. This again, let's talk about health and safety. Right, hang on a minute. Need to find this. This is actually really cool. I can find this. I kind of want to show you the picture just because it's better to show you the picture than it is to talk about it. Because if I talk about it, it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to see it. Let me just, what's it not? Paphos Zoo, let's just type that. There we go. Here we go. I've got loads of stuff. Right. Now it's coming up. Oh, yeah, cool. So actually, here's another thing for the kids. Actually, that's got a friend's daughter on it. One second, let me not show you that one. Oh, this is cool. Right, you can show you this one. So come to this. So here, they've got these little birds out and they do like a bird show. So the bird show is really cool, right? They've got these bird shows going on and that's really cool. And the birds are flying on and they had the owl from, let me just take that away. It's got, like I say, it's got friends and stuff on. They had the owl from Harry Potter on there. You could pay and you could like, literally stand and have the owl from Harry Potter on your shoulder. They've got the Harry Potter owl. And they're making a big thing of that. But the other thing I want to show you is, where is it? I really want to show you this. So if I find it, you're going to look at it. I'm going to find the picture. You're like, well, that's rubbish. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at this. This is amazing. Right. There you go. And can I just get to the picture? Yeah, right. Here we go. Check this out. Lions. Okay. So we've got the lions here. And you might go, okay, cool. It's a lion in a cage. What's so big about that? Well, this is the walkway. I'm a big guy. I could have leaned over and tickled his foot. Now, health and safety doesn't stop me from tickling his foot. Common sense does. I ain't tickling no lion, but you could, right? But the point is, you are very, very close to these animals. And like when I looked at him, his paw was massive. I know it's a lion, of course it's going to be massive, but you get an appreciation of them up close. And I never really got that appreciation of them in the zoos in the UK because it always felt like you were a mile away from them or like, behind the glass. And yes, they can walk up to the glass and stuff like that. I don't know. I like Paphos Zoo. Like I say, I'm biased because I live here. If you go to London Zoo in the UK, then you're going to get more exotic animals. You probably get the Komodo dragons. You're probably going to get, like, in terms of snakes, the king cobras and stuff like that. But I don't know. I like Paphos Zoo because you get to interact with the animals. Like I said, the giraffes. In fact, actually, I was looking for the giraffe. The giraffe picture, the giraffes, that was in 2022. Is that going to come up? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to show you. I'll do this. I'm just zooming it in. It's got my boy on it. There you go. You can get the corner of his eye. Basically, as one of the owls and the bird show. I don't know if that's the Harry Potter one. I seem to think it was the Harry Potter one, but I know that also when we went there once, it wasn't the Harry Potter one because the Harry Potter one was on holiday. It was on a break. Apparently, the birds get breaks. Who'd have thought? No, I can't find what I was looking for. I was looking for the giraffe. But anyway, so the point is, you get quite close to the animals and you could interact with them and stuff like that. So the zoo is very good. It's a long answer to a question. For a 4-year-old, the zoo's really good. That's really cool. What else would a 4-year-old do? The water park is really cool. If you go to Aphrodite's water park, they've got a kids area. So that's a nice area you can go to. And it's pretty safe. The kids area is good. Assuming you come in Paphos, by the way. Actually, did you say, let's just have a look. Did you say Paphos? Yeah, Larrakis, you did. Sorry, yes. So what else? I mean, I wouldn't recommend the soft plays out here. You can go to a soft play. Like we take our kids to the soft plays, but that's because they're kids and you can only go to the beach and stuff so many times. But the soft plays in the UK way better. They're better than what you've got out here. The soft indoor play areas for kids, not amazing out here. There's a lack of choice, which is why they're so busy all the time. So I wouldn't recommend them. You don't need them anyway. You've got them in the UK. And now you can see I'm struggling to recommend things for a 4-year-old. And this is part of the problem with Cyprus because it relies heavily on the weather. It relies heavily on people going to the beach and people being outside and having a good time there. And so then to say, go somewhere and entertain your kids, it's quite tough. Like you can go to places, you can go on bike rides and stuff, but it can be quite tough. How do they travel? And that sounds like a ridiculous question. You're gonna say in a car seat, but let me show you this. So come back to this. I'm back in UK. Polis. Let's go to Polis. Come on, really? Hang on a minute. Right, just occurred to me that is all of my bookmarks from all the time I was in the UK. Let's go to an incognito browser. I'll reject the cookies and go back to Polis. Oh, didn't learn the first time, Mark, did you? You just made Polis, Cyprus. Right, so the reason why I recommend saying Polis, if they like boats, I don't know if your 4-year-old likes boats. If they do, highly recommend coming up to this area here. So let me zoom out. This here, Polis, you've got the northwest side of Paphos, which you come up here, go to Polis, and you go to Latchi. You go to Latchi Harbour. You can pick up a boat here for a Blue Lagoon trip. And it's a nice drive up there as well. You can get a Blue Lagoon trip from Paphos, but this is the way we've always gone. And then they'll take you up here to the Blue Lagoon. It's about an hour's sail up the up the coast, and there's about an hour's sail back, and you get an hour in the water as well. But it's just a lovely trip. Like, even if they don't like swimming and they're scared of the sea and everything else, it's just a nice boat trip, you see. And you get food and stuff on there. There's toilets on there and stuff like that. But if you were to go to the Blue Lagoon, you've then got this to look forward to when you get there, and it's like a swimming pool. Like, the only way I can describe it is when you're there and you're in the water. Trying to find some pictures. I've got pictures where it's just looking down, like kind of like that, and it kind of looks like a swimming pool, And I've got photos of kids just swimming, and it's like, if that was just zoomed in, all right, you can tell it's a sea because it's wavy, but honestly, like, some of the photos, it's just ridiculously clear. So if they like that type of thing, if you think they'd like a boat trip, then that's a good one because it's nice and calm on the boat. There is another boat you can do though, and this is good. This will be good for all of the kids. So you come down to the harbour. I'm going to go onto the satellite view because you'll see this pirate ship here. So for those of you that have got kids, the pirate ship, this was awesome. I really like this. Can we get down to here anywhere? Let's just do that. Well, who are you? Don't know who you are. Right, let's try again. That's what I wanted. Right. Where is it? Well, of course it's not in the dock. Why are you not in the dock? Oh, no, it's there. Can't see for looking. Right, there it is. Right. So you actually have this pirate ship, and it's really cool. You go down here, it's on the right. Yeah, there you go. Right. So this pirate ship here, if you go down there, so you're on the seafront. You walk down. You've got the castle just around the corner behind these buildings. Yeah, this is actually where the food festival was last night, and it's also where, well, it's not this bit. Is you go around onto the harbour there. It's where the food festival was last night. It's where the beer festivals were and things like that. But anyway, you come here, you go on this pirate ship, and I think it was about a 3-hour trip, and you jump on there, it sails out, and it just literally comes down the coast, and it goes down to this area here. And if I go back to satellite view, you'll see you've got these sea breakers here, and it kind of comes up here, and it parks round about here somewhere. Round about here, just parks and just sits there on the horizon, drops anchor, and you come out, and it's a nice boat trip. And what happens is, for the kids, there is a pirate show, and the pirate show it's a bit like, I don't know, Hook, Peter Pan, and have a pirate show, and you've got people swinging about and sword fighting and stuff like that. And inevitably, at the end of the show, they make the pirate walk the plank. The good guys win. The pirate's forced to walk the plank, and they poke him off the end, and he's forced to jump into the sea. And then that's the end of the show. But then at that point, they invite you and kids and anybody else to also walk the plank, and you can literally just jump off the pirate ship in the middle of the sea, and you can swim around and stuff like that, and it's super cool. So that's part of the show. You don't have to swim in the sea, by the way. If you don't, you think, oh god, that sounds dangerous, Mark. Well, you don't have to. The pirate ship itself has air conditioning downstairs, so even though it's a pirate ship, if you go downstairs, there's an area that's air conditioned. So if you think, oh, I'm going to struggle with the heat, well, you can go downstairs and cool down, because some of our friends did that. But they have other shows on and other entertainments. They have a magic show on there. So for those of you that saw my son when I did I did the interview with my son a few weeks back, he was trying to show you a magic book that he got from this pirate ship. So that's a really cool trip as well. And kids loved it. And there's just entertainment there for the trip, literally. And you probably won't want to do this if you're with your kids on holiday, but we were there because obviously we get to do this stuff now. The kids were just off playing. They were upstairs watching the show, and the adults were just sat down chilling. Now, I would never leave my son out of sight. If I was on holiday, if I was on a boat, no, he'd be with me or I'd be walking with him. But because you've got all the staff on there, it's like the kids are upstairs chilling, watching magic shows and stuff, and they're all excited and happy, and you're downstairs sitting, drinking, eating, whatever. It's really cool. So anyway, there's a couple of options, but hopefully you find something that they like anyway. Right, where are we up to now? What's the questions? Okay, Philip. Thanks, Mark. You are the kind of people why I put my life on the line. That's really kind. Thank you, Philip. That's really kind. You are the kind of people who put my life on the line. You're a cracking guy. I don't do compliments very well, so I'm just going to have to say thank you. Would definitely buy you a few drinks if I move out to Cyprus. I mean that with all my heart. That's really kind, Philip. Thank you. I mean, you wouldn't need to buy me drinks. I appreciate it. We should definitely link up though. If you are when you get out here, if you do choose Cyprus, then we can link up. In fact, again, I've mentioned this to a few other people because I said this on a few of the live streams, but I know some of you are new tonight. So I'm looking at doing a Cyprus Unfiltered meetup, not in a way that is profitable. And I'm not trying to make money out of this. It's just when people are coming to Cyprus and they don't know anybody, like when we came out here, we didn't know anybody. And it was, I'd say, daunting. I mean, my wife had already moved to England for me from Poland, and I wasn't scared of moving out here, but I appreciate for some people it is. And so for the regulars of you that are on this channel, people that are, you can see the comments in the chats, you guys talk between each other. So if I start doing a monthly meetup with Cyprus Unfiltered, and we just pick a place, everybody pays their own way. We can find a place. I'm going to look at maybe doing the first Saturday or the first Sunday of the month, and we can all meet up. So anybody coming out can just meet up. You can meet people that you've been seeing in the comments, chatting to in the comments, stuff like that. We can meet up. We can have a chat and a drink or whatever, and it'd just be a nice way for you guys to meet people. So if you're coming to the island and you don't know anybody, well then, you can maybe make some friends in a meetup there, and that'd be quite cool. And like I say, we'll just find a venue, we'll just book a table and do that once a month. And like I say, just people can just rock up and do their own thing. I'm not going to do anything formal. I'm not going to, there's no pitch, there's nothing to sell, just come and have a chat, it'd be cool. And if you can meet some friends, make some friends out here, why not? That'd be cool. Ferry and Monica. A zoo is definitely cool. Our 6-year-old son loved it last year. Feeding the animals, seeing crocodiles, huge turtles, parrot life show. We all had a parrot live show. We all had a great day out there. Interesting. Ferry and Monica, so you were there last year. With the giraffes in? Because they weren't there 2 years ago. Have they got the giraffes back now? Interested to know if they have. But yeah, look, as a 43-year-old man, I still like the zoo. It's really funny. You can get a bunch of grown men and you put a puppy in front of them or a kitten, and they're all going to go, "Ah, I'm that guy. I like animals too." So, yeah. But yeah, be interested to know if the giraffes are still in. Cool. Well, there's no more questions or comments. Let me know about the giraffes. What are we on now? Nearly midnight. Blimey, I'm going strong actually. So I've driven 200 miles today for this car show. I did have a kip. I had an hour's sleep before this because I wanted to be awake. I didn't want to be yawning down the mic at you guys. So, but I'm still going quite strong. I probably should go to bed. I've got to go gym in the morning. Got to be up in 6 hours. Probably should go to bed. But anyway, I will ask one more time. If anybody got any questions, anything you want to know, anything I can help you with, and if so, ask away. Otherwise, I am going to get going. I'm going to let you guys get some sleep too, although it's 10 o'clock in the UK nearly. So cool. Well, no drafts, unfortunately, last October. Oh, what? Okay, that's a shame. So when I was last there 2 years ago, the drafts had died, unfortunately, and they told me that they were on a boat. I don't know what kind of boat, like Noah's Ark or something, but they were on a boat coming to Cyprus, and then the boat got delayed, and then they weren't going to arrive until Christmas. And now it seems like the boats got lost and they didn't arrive, which kind of sucks. Anyway, Philip, I definitely look you up. You have so much knowledge of the area, even though I did have a timeshare for 18 years in Limassol. Such wonderful memories. Oh, cool. In Limassol. Actually, quite. So I like Limassol as a place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. There's a few places in the island I would live outside of Paphos, but Limassol wasn't one of them. But interesting. So you know what Cyprus is like then? You've been over here. You've been in Limassol. I guess it's changed a lot since then. But yeah, no, I mean, we used to come. I came on a family holiday many years ago. I was 14, and I mean, I've got memories of it back then, and like the motorways that have been built. I mean, fair enough, that was like what 30 years ago, but the motorways. Like we drove down the coastal road just recently, the B6 instead of the A6, just because that used to be the road that got you to Limassol from Paphos, and it's such a nice drive. The views are amazing. If you've got time and you're not in a rush to get across the island, to go down the B6 instead of the A6, you get a much nicer view. And it's just the roads are dead because everybody's on the motorway. Like I say, it's interesting because everybody's all Sega, and that's the way of life until they get behind the wheel of a car, and then everybody wants to go the opposite of Sega. So you go down the B road and there's like nobody on it, and it's awesome. So you also got married out there in 2007. Oh wow! Did you marry an English person, Philip? Did you marry a Cypriot? And where did you get married? Was that in Limassol or Paphos or somewhere else? Where did you get married? That's cool. I got married in Poland. For anybody interested, you're probably not, but I'm telling you anyway because it's entertaining. But I got married in Poland, and that was cool. In Polish, they do a 2-day wedding. Interestingly, talking about weddings, it's quite cool when you're driving down the road. If you see a wedding here in Cyprus, you drive down the road, see a wedding in Cyprus, there'll be the cars and be like a parade of cars, got the ribbons on and stuff like that, but they're all on the horn, like they're all beeping the horn. And so then you just fall into that way of life. So you see the weddings and you bash the horn, you're like, beep, 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 and you're just like waving at them. It's just really cool. It's really funny. So yeah, you just get into it and you get all these horny people pressing it, driving around. I think it's quite funny. You married a Welsh girl. Okay, cool. A local Welsh girl. Okay, yeah, very local. Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, it's cool that you got married in Cyprus anyway. So it is wedding season. We've got a wedding venue that you can see it, but you can hear it. If the wind catches the right direction, you can hear it. It's nice some nights. So it's not too disruptive. The windows are closed, but yeah, you do get that from time to time. But it's, the thing is, when you live where people holiday, you're always going to get some sort of disruption. If you're anywhere near the coast, you're always going to get some sort of disruption. And so you find it's nice when, as horrible as it sounds, the island thrives on a tourism economy to an extent, but when the tourists go, you've still got the heat, but the traffic dies down, and it's just nice. When you live here, it's nice. Anyway, what are we on? 1 minute past midnight. I've been prattling on for 3 hours, guys. So with that said, I'm going to save your ears, and I am going to go to bed. And for those of you that are around next week, I'll see you next week. But I would appreciate you all. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. For those of you that are new, really good having you on. Thank you for dialing in. And have a good week, all. Yeah, appreciate your time. Go like and share, because I'm going to fade out on this. And I will catch you next week if you're around. Have a good week, all. Cheers. Got married somewhere in the mountain area. It was awesome. I'm going to guess Troodos Mountains, Philip. That's my guess. You can tell me next week, but I'm going to guess Troodos Mountains.